Y'all. Huh. You guys, sorry, man. This really sucks. Ah, maybe I'll just put the link up and you guys can watch it. We can talk about it. This really sucks. I'm like, it's like they're being monetized. Shoot, this sucks. Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. YouTube took the video down. They are insane. Oh, I'm in tears. They're so evil. Hey, Mariah, they're so damn evil. Why are they so damn evil like this? Honey, I can't take this anymore. I'm sad. I'm going back. I'm going to bed. I'm going to sleep. This is ridiculous. Like, this is insane. And I can't play the audio because the audio is in French. Oh my gosh. This is insanity. I'm like, y'all, we just have to do it this way, right? Like, it's crazy. I'm not even monetizing it. I could see if I was monetizing it, right? But I'm like, it seems to me. So you saw they were outside, right? So they went to the cafe, and it's like, so the girl decides to wear these booty shorts, knowing that she's cold. So like they go and they sit outside. She's like, oh, I'm cold. He's like, well, if you're cold, you should have dressed better. Like, girl, what? She's like, oh, so because I have 5 kids, you think I should dress like the woman over there? I'm like, nobody's saying you have to dress like that, right? But, oh yeah, Pop the Balloon, they're crazy. But I feel like Pop the Balloon is going to die soon, though, because people stop reviewing it. The reviews of Pop the Balloons is what would make people actually going to watch it. Like, I haven't watched that stuff since, like, people stopped doing their commentary on it. Like, okay, if you can't do commentary, I don't really care about your show. Like, girl, bye. It's a stupid show anyways, right? But I'm like, it seems to me that this woman, I don't know, she wants to wear the least amount of clothes. It's reminding me of a certain influencer, but I'm not going to say her name, right? It's like she wants to wear the least amount of clothes. She wants men to look at her. She wants to go in a bar. She wants to go do this, this, and that. And I'm like, girl, if you are seeing someone else, just say that. If you want to leave this marriage, just say that. If also you feel as though, yeah, I'm like, there's no more reaction. So it's not even interesting. I don't care about Pop the Balloon. But I'm like, when everybody was allowed to comment on Pop the Balloon and make money off of it, like, everybody was running to see it. Because the reviews make you want to see the entire episode for yourself. I'm like, stop being greedy. Okay? Share the money. Right? So I'm like, I'm so confused. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, I'm like, and it's also giving Tia, right? The fact that you think, I don't know what these women actually think, but you know, because it's, I think maybe also like social media, because social media does such a good job lying to these women, because you know, modern women, they gravitate towards liars, right? They love being lied to. So on social media, they'll tell a woman, oh, if you're a single mom and you have 4 kids, there is a man out there who wants you. Oh, if you're a single mom and you have 5 kids, there's a man out there who wants you. Yeah, you're a husband. Hey, for me, you're a husband, right? And like, I don't know. I just feel like in this life, it's better to go for what you know than to assume that there's something better out there. Okay, let's even assume there's something better out there. What guarantees that you're going to meet that person? Right? It's better to go for what you know. And this is why I think even I used to have that kind of mindset. I used to have that kind of mindset too, because, you know, I used to be crazy once upon a time. But like, let's say like in business, right? In business, you will say to yourself, oh, I got to grow. I got to be super big. I got to grow super fast. So you do all kinds of reckless shit. Do all kinds of reckless shit. As opposed to saying, you know what? Yes, it would be nice to make more money. It would be nice to have a bigger business, right? But it's better to go slow and steady, right? It's better to take care of the customers you have now than to say to yourself, oh, I can get more customers. I can get bigger, better customers. No. Okay. Sometimes you got to be grateful for the customers that you have right now. And you have to make sure that you treat these people the best you can. Does that make sense, you guys? Right? So let's say, yes, there could be a man out there that'll take you and your 5 kids. What the fuck do I know? But the odds of that are really, really slim to none. Right? Also, let's even assume he's out there. Just because he's out there does not mean that you can guarantee that you'll meet that man. Right? You understand? Sometimes it's better to go for what you know and perfect what you know. So like your husband right here, he might not be the best man, right? Maybe he has lots of things he has to work on. But one thing we know about this man, he married you when other men did not marry you. How many men slept with your ass and left your ass? Right? How many men even slept with you, gave you a yeast infection, never called you back? Right? So I'm like, yes, there are things that he can improve on, and so can you, because you're extremely disrespectful. But my thing is, right, at least he has done things that most men have not done. He married you. He gave you children. He did not run away from his kids. He brought you to Europe. He made you a French citizen, right? You have access to a lot of stuff that most people in your family would never have access to, right? He works hard. He works really hard. He's not lazy. He's not in bed. He's not sleeping all day. He's not making you work. He's not making you work, pay the bills, right? So sometimes instead of thinking about what's better out there, somewhere out there over the rainbow, right? Sometimes it's a lot better to focus on what you have and nurture what you have. When you look at your husband, you can't just see the bad things in him, because that means you ain't shit. Because what kind of person are you when you look at a person, all you see are the flaws of the person? You ain't shit, right? So when you look at yourself, do you see your flaws, right? When you look at a person, you got to be able to see the good and the bad, because everything is not bad unless you ain't shit, because you was never shit, right? And when you are a malignant narcissist, you are never grateful. You are never grateful, because otherwise you should say, yeah, I think my husband could work on this, work on that, work on this. However, compared to most men I've been with, he's the only one who went to see my family. He's the only one who paid the whole dowry thing. He's the only one who married me. He got me pregnant. He didn't run, right? Brought me to Europe, made me a French citizen. He works hard. You know what I'm saying? So can you give him credit for that? Right? Because how many men you met at that bar, slept with you, did all kinds of shit to you, they'll marry your ass. So can the man get credit for being a husband? For not just having sex or, drinking the milk, but also marrying the cow? Because he bought the cow, he drank the milk, and he bought the cow. How many men would drink the milk and never pay for the cow? Right? So you got to start there. That's why I don't entertain people who never start by giving people their just due. As soon as you open your mouth, the first thing that comes out your mouth is you criticizing people. The first thing that comes out of your mouth is you criticizing a person. All you have to say about your husband is something negative. I have a friend like that, right? But she changed her tune because I had to set her right. I'm like, it's not normal that when you open your mouth, the first things that come out your mouth about your husband are nothing but negative things. And yet you don't work. That shit kills me. You don't work. You stay at home. All the bills are paid. You don't have to worry about shit. You wake up in the morning. You turn the light switch on. Light comes on. You go in the shower. You turn the shower head. Water comes out. You open the fridge. There's food. You go in the garage. Mercedes. Girl, are you kidding me? You do not see a single bill. So to me, before you criticize your husband, because I don't know who she thought I was, right? I don't know who she thought I was, but I had to set her straight. Listen, my mom might have her flaws. That Virgo, she might be a little crazy. But my mom, she put some decency in my black ass, right? Before you talk about your husband, before you talk negatively about your husband, you can at least start by the things that he's doing right. The things that he's grateful for. And I told her, I'm like, we're Africans, right? You are out here living like a white woman, like a rich white American, by the way. You should have seen the house. I always talk about the house. You should have seen the house. I'm like, but damn. There are people who are born here. They will never see a house like this. They will never live in this neighborhood. Right? So before you talk bad about the man, say something good about the man. Say something good. Is it that hard to give people their just due? Even Jesus said, give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Because he was never against taxes. But he was against the taxes being used for foolishness. Right? Because everything about your husband is not bad. And I told her, all these goofy ass bitches you hang with, All these goofy ass women that you hang with, and every time you say something bad about your husband, they entertain you. They ain't shit also. They ain't shit. Because no person is 100% bad. I cannot be in this house, see what I see, and you don't work, and you're going to tell me that this man's a bad person. No, he has flaws. But just because you have flaws does not mean that a person is a bad person. I have flaws. Elena has flaws. Lonnie has flaws. Every human being you meet, they have flaws. But when it comes down to it, does he not honor his promises to marry you, provide for you, love you, take care of you, keep you safe, make sure you got food, water, Mercedes? Y'all, I'm telling you, the luxury, right? She was so upset because I don't know what kind of deranged feminist she thought I was. I'm a Christian. I'm Christian. And the Bible says, do not bear false witness. Because me, when I see what I see, something not adding up. Something adding up. Right? But imagine if you live in a house where the mortgage is like $6,000, $7,000. Your husband never comes to you for a penny. Mortgage paid, y'all. Hey, me, Marlene, I'm not going to bother this man. Girl, what? What? $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 mortgage. The man never asked you for $1. If he's stressed, he's not stressed. You don't even know it's paid. Can you imagine? Right? Water, then everything paid. You want to sit here and complain about foolishness. What do I look like to you? What do I look like? Are you insane? I'm like, people must be crazy. People are really crazy. But these women out here are so ungrateful because they listen to a bunch of idiots. And it's so crazy to me. It's like, no, it's not, Elena. It's not. And when you, because I can't say too much, Elena, when she tells you his resume, he's not lazy. And mind you, growing up, she grew up like somewhat of a wealthy father. He grew up poor, Elena. They lived in Europe together for a while, like, because they've always grown up together, right? And so while he was struggling to pay his school fees, when he was struggling to eat, when they were living in Europe, she was squandering money, luxury bags, womp. You think she said, oh, your family poor, here a little 500 euro, here 200 euro. No, she was spending money in front of him, spending money like water because her dad had all kinds of money. His family was poor. The best they did was send him to Europe, but he knew he was on his own. When you know his resume, no, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. I'm like, this dude right here, no, that's a chimp. That's a real one. You should see the house, Elena. Man, the girl is just yippity. I'm looking at her like, what the fuck is wrong with this bitch? Because without him, she would live in the ghetto. Okay, she don't have what it takes. She don't have the heart. I'm telling you, the mortgage had to be like 5, 6, 7,000. Like at the house, I'm like, when I tell you, think like rich ass white woman in the tri-state area. That kind of life. An African woman, by the way, living like a rich white woman in America. Can you imagine? Instead of waking up every day like, oh, God bless my husband. God protect my husband. God make my husband way more intelligent. Make sure his brain works even better. When I tell you, I'll be laying hands on my husband to pray for his brain. Lord, I surrender my husband's brain to you. Make sure he gets smarter. Make sure he has favor with people. Make sure wherever he goes, girl, as long as he wins, we ain't got to do shit. We live a life of luxury. Trust and believe. I will entertain myself. You are really crazy. You are really crazy. But the thing is, you have these married women who are on social media listening to unwedded people with failed relationships, people who are, not to be offensive, but bitter single mothers. Well, there's something better. Girl, shut up. When you get to a certain age, and maybe because I have my own business, but you get to a certain age, you understand, like, yeah, not technically, but in theory, yes, there's always something better out there, right? But like the Bible says, do not despise small beginnings, because what you have right here, that's for sure, right? Like the husband you have right now, that's for sure. The husband that could be wonky womp, girl, that it might just be a dream. Right? So is it not better to focus on what you have and perfect what you have? That even if he's not the perfect husband, that he one day will be everything you want him to be. Right? That makes sense, right? If you have, let's say you have a business, right? And you have 50 regular customers. Now, let's say on average, they pay like they have an average order of like $50, right? But you know that every month they're going to give you $50. So that's like what, 2,500, right? Okay, cool. Then you have a celebrity that might show up once a year, once every 6 months. Are you willing to sacrifice your whole business for that celebrity who might never hire you again? No, I say it's better to nurture your 50 loyal customers. Yes, right now they can only afford to give you $50, right? But pray for your customers. Be grateful for your customers, right? Write them notes. Put goodie bags, like put extras in their orders, because who knows? Maybe one day if they do well, like their career changes, they have promotions, they might go from $50 to $60, right? Then they might up to $70. My thing is, it's better to grow steady with people who are loyal than to sit here and wish and hope and dream for a celebrity shout out or whatever. No. Just like virality, right? A lot of people want to go viral. Oh, I want to go viral. I want to go viral. Okay. But if you go viral, do you even have enough videos on your page? Right? If you go viral, can you even handle being famous overnight? You understand? Right? But if you grow your channel slowly but surely, every single person who subscribes to you, they really love you because they got the time to know you. And when they hit subscribe, they really meant that shit. Right? Like, look at Marcus Brownlee. Like Marcus, his channel grew really slow because he didn't go viral. And he even said, because he sat down with Samir and he was like, oh, he's very grateful that his channel did not go viral because he had to work hard for every single video. So when now he's at like 16, 17 million subscribers on YouTube, shit, right? But he started slow. He started small, right? So every subscriber he earned, like he truly earned that subscriber. And they really love Marcus. They really do. That little boy is so rich, right? But people who chase virality, people will do anything for a click, anything for a view, like the McBroom, whatever they're called, right? Where are they today? Where are they today? Right? Because it was all about chasing clicks instead of really growing and nurturing a real relationship with your audience and stuff like that, right? And that's what I'm saying. The husband that you have, maybe you're upset because he's not making more money, right? That's fine. But you also have to understand that he never told you he had a PhD in nuclear physics, right? He's a regular man. Just because he's white doesn't mean that he's automatically a millionaire. Gotta stop thinking that, oh, I'm in Africa and every white man is rich. Every white man ain't rich. But he's giving you something that you wouldn't have had, especially healthcare. You wouldn't have had that back in Gabon. You wouldn't have had that. But he's giving that to you, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have had that. You get me, right? You wouldn't have had that. Today, you have it, right? But I'm like, at least start by congratulating him. And maybe you can ask yourself, right, what can I do to make his life easier that maybe he can go back to school, right? We got to work together. Got to work together. You cannot hate the man because right now that's all the money he can make. At least he's trying to make some kind of money, right? But you don't work. So maybe what about you work? Okay, how about you work? Maybe if you work, he can go back to school. He can have a better degree and then he can make more money. But my thing is, it's better for us to sit down as a couple and talk about finances, talk about our financial goals, than to be mad at a man because he's not bringing you a certain kind of income. Like, that's crazy to me, right? That's crazy to me. Because whatever man you think is out there, yeah, right. That's if you meet him. But on social media, they love to tell these women, oh, there's a man out there. There's a man that, girl, the man that's out there somewhere versus the man that you can actually see with your eyes, you can actually touch, and he's saying, yes, I want to marry you. Yeah, I'm a bank on what I can actually hold. You crazy? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he needs to. I'm going to share the video so y'all can watch the video, right? But I'm like, come on, make it make sense. What you can hold is a lot better. And this is why you notice that today, so many women are having their children so late because they waited. Oh, there's somebody better. There's someone better. In theory, there's always someone better. But just because there's someone better out there, it does not mean we do not become practical in the moment, right? If, like I said, if we have someone that has like 60, 70, even 80% potential, it's better than to say, well, I'll just wait for someone that's out there. Are you crazy? Right? Because just because in theory there's someone out there better, it doesn't mean that you two in this lifetime are ever going to meet. It's not that easy to meet people. Right? And also, you think you're the only one that's going to want his attention, right? But if you have someone that's pretty decent, that's pretty serious, and he wants to commit, he wants to marry, my thing is, why not work with this person? Why not work with the person that right now is willing to do this thing with you and work with that person, work on communication with that person, work on being patient with that person, just as much as you would want him to be patient with you, right? And create a vision. Learn to talk to each other. Do not be mad at someone because he can't give you a dream life. Maybe your job is to help him figure out how exactly you both can have a dream life, right? Right? But you think you leave, just like Tia, you think you're going to leave your husband and somebody's going to show up and take care of you and 5 kids? You are insane. Because you want to wear short dresses or because you see your favorite influencer wear short dresses. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, right? A lot of these female influencers, especially many of them who've been on YouTube, I thought about it today, right? I'm not going to say no name, but I thought about it today. Many of these influencers who have been on YouTube since their early 20s until now, you know, many of these girls never grew the fuck up. It's like they're still back in the 2010s. Because I do believe, like, when you build an audience around a certain persona, you're trapped. Like, you are trapped. You cannot mature. You got to be a vixen forever, a seductress forever, you know, watch Love and Hip Hop or Married to Medicine or Real Housewives forever, because otherwise you might lose your audience. And many of these girls are stuck. It's like arrested development. They're not mature. They're not mature. And that's why many of these women are truly deceiving themselves into believing that the worth of a woman is the clothes that she wears, her wigs, her this, her that, you know, going over here, my boyfriend's in another country, my boyfriend is there, girl, bye. If your boyfriend lives in another country, he's somebody else's man as well. Do not deceive yourself, right? Do not deceive yourself. But I'm like, a lot of these female influencers are incredibly immature. They are so immature. It's like they're stuck in, like, when they start their YouTube channel, they're stuck. They're just stuck. And they are refusing to be grown, mature women that can talk about grown, mature conversations, right? It's makeup, it's hair, it's shoes, it's amicable, but they can never sit here and really talk about the intricacies of grown people relationships, especially marriage, because many of them have never experienced marriage, nor have they excelled at marriage, right? Right? It's like, it really is sad. It really is sad. But I'm like, to me, it's better to work with the man that wants to work with you and over time have 2% improvement, 5% improvement, right? It's slow and steady wins the race, because minor improvements that are consistent are more respected than a man who shows up, va-va-voom, big restaurants, bunch of money, because that's always how the love bombing goes, right? But eventually it phases out because he understands that you're greedy. And the reason why he's putting money in the forefront, because he wants to use the money to control you. Right? And he knows once he has you hooked onto the money, you, no matter what he does to you, you'll sit put and you'll put up with the abuse, right? Make sense, you guys? So that's my thing. But it's better to go, it's better, hey, boo, it's better to go slow and steady, right? It's better to, listen to me, right? And they're going to come over here and start screaming, but I'm not lying. It's better if you can start with a man that makes like 70,000, 80,000, 90,000. At least he's closer to 100,000. Imagine somebody that's at 0, or imagine someone that's at 50, right? If somebody is at 70,000, right, with the right kind of help, the right kind of direction, and the right kind of work ethic, one day, maybe like 2-3 years, he might be around 90-ish. But within 5 years, we guarantee he's going to have 100,000, right? A lot of girls, they'll see a guy, he's not making 100,000. We're like, oh my gosh, he's not making 6 figures. Yeah, he's not making 6 figures now. but it's projected for him to make six figures because look at his degrees, look at his career track, look at his work ethic. Within the next 5 years, he'll be there, right? So you say, no, I don't want that. But then you start dating over here, you date over here, you date over there, you date over here, over here, over here, over here. Before you know it, what happened? 5 years have gone by. So now what happened? Now he's making 100,000. But because you were shitting on him when he didn't have 100,000, he's not going to spin the block. Now he might spin the block to let you know I got the money now, but I'm not going to be with you, right? Because women are so impatient. And I'm like, when what's his name? When Andrew Tate said that, like, it really got to me because he said, oh, women don't know how to suffer. Like, they don't know how to suffer graciously. They get uncomfortable, they jump, right? Right? But my thing is, like, you got to think about this. Like, some people, even if they're not making the 100,000 now, they're going to make it. It is an absolute guarantee. It's just a matter of time. And sometimes it's not even that much time. So you don't want him now because he's making 70. So you want to see what else is out there. Okay. But what if what else is out there takes you 5 years? Think about it. 5 years, he's going to make 100,000. You want to date, it might take you 5 years to do what? Just to end up where you left off. You see? Because people don't know how to think. Right? How many girls said, no, I can never be with this man, because you were younger? Okay, cool. Now you fast forward. The man is in his 40s. Now he's making 300,000. Now he's making 400,000. It was going to happen. You were just impatient. Right? Look at, what's the name? Dawn from in Vogue, right? Her husband back in the day, I don't know how much he was making, but today she's 60, right? Her ex-husband is now making 500,000 a year. You see, being impatient. Right? Because certain things are bound to happen. You're just being impatient because you want it now, but you somewhat have it. It's in him. He's going to get there. He just needs 5 years. Oh, but I can't wait 5 years. Okay. So what you going to do? Date over here, date over here, date over here. Okay, no problem. But think about that too, because you might waste 5 years dating other men, just looking for a man that makes 100,000 when the whole time he's right in front of you. Hopefully y'all get me, right? Hopefully you understand me, right? Certain things are bound to happen. You're just impatient. And you're wasting your time because dating over here, sleeping with this one, sleeping with that one. You could have taken those 5 years and focused on this relationship with his brother right here. Because this is your $100,000 man. He just doesn't have it yet. But he's bound to make it. His resume, degrees, work ethics, internship, years of experience. He's going to make it. Within the next 5 years, he will have that money. So I'm saying it's better to focus on him instead of wasting 5 years dating over here, dating over there, dating over here. What I'm saying is just focus on that. Like I said about the same thing I said about Shadur, right? Singular focus, right? You see, Cam, he was just dating football. All he cared about was football. He goes on the date, football. He's dating football. Shadur, dating football, streaming, being a YouTuber, being an influencer. Okay. People look at him, you don't know what he is. But one thing you can say when you look at Shadur, football is not a passion for Shadur. Right? You see? Cam, instead of going over here, going over there, doing the rap song, doing the this, doing the that, he said, no, I'm going to focus on football. Singular focus. Right? Just like a business. Anything you do, focus on one thing. Just one thing. Just focus on that. Right? So what I'm saying is, yes, right now he makes 70,000. But I'm saying the more exactly, doing everything but whatever, right? If you focus on that, right? You already have the $100,000 man. And the thing is, reality is he's not just going to make 100,000. Because once you make 100,000, it's up from there. You're only going to make more. So he's going to make way more than 100,000. You're not thinking big, bitch. You're slow. And a lot of these women are slow, right? And that's why they say, jack of all trades, master of none. Because your intention is like, you're all over the place. And before you know it, 5 years would have gone by. He's making 100,000. And he really loved you. Like he really, really liked you. He's very serious. These other dudes here, all they want is sex, grab your ass, grab your titties, bend you backwards and shove their penises in your mouth. That's all they want. Right? He was really trying to build something serious with you, like for life. These dudes right here is for one night. They ain't shit. There was never shit, ain't gonna be shit, and they currently ain't shit. Right? But it's the fear. A lot of women are so afraid. Oh my gosh, am I making the right choice? Am I making the wrong choice? Oh my gosh, I think I'm beautiful. I think I don't know. I don't want to use up my beauty. Girl, you're dumb. Your beauty should be your brains. Okay. Your beauty should be how well you know how to think. Be strategic. Read some business books. Right? Because when you think your beauty is only on the outside, you are bound to make stupid mistakes. Because any man that hollers at you, tells you got a fat ass, oh, he must be the one. He must be the one. He ain't shit. He ain't shit. He's a dog lusting after flesh. That's about it. Okay? You got to get to a certain age where you realize that your beauty is way more than how you look and the size of your ass. A woman is more than the size of her ass. Like, that's just crazy to me. Right? You know what I'm saying? You put it out there, most men will holler at you. That's about it. If you let them have sex with you, but do they actually want to be responsible for you? Do they want to be responsible for your children? Right? Do they want to take care of you, love you, and accept you with your flaws and all? No. They just want sex. And a lot of women are confusing sex with intimacy. They are confusing a man lusting after your body parts for, oh yeah, he loves me. No, he's lusting after you. A lot of men out here will have sex with just anything. Okay? So just because a man gives you fleshly attention does not mean he's that into you. He's into himself. You're just another body. Okay? Yeah. You got to think about his career because, like, where is he going? But, like, look at his degrees. And that's why when you go on dates with people, that's what dates should be for, to really ask these questions, right? What did he study? What's his work ethic? What's his 5-year vision? Where does he see himself? What does his manager think of him, right? Like, ask real questions. But my thing is, he might be right in front of you, right? Like, how many times, you guys, I'll tell you this, right? How many times has God given me an idea? Like, it was like right there in front of me. I just didn't take it seriously. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's right there. But because it's so small, you don't think that it's your job to nurture it and that one day it can be something great, right? You know what I'm saying? But that's why I feel like we have to learn to communicate with people. And then you also have to be reasonable with your expectations. Like, you have to be reasonable, right? But if you met a man who didn't really, like, he didn't finish high school, right? There's only so much he can do. Now, if you guys come together, maybe you can come up with a better idea. But you can't hold it against him that he can only give you so much money, right? Because maybe you need to unfollow some people on social media, because the way some of these influencers spend money on social media, most people can't do that. It's just, it's not life. It's not real life. It's not real life. But you can't see what you see on social media and then be mad at your husband because he can't provide that for you. He's not an influencer. He's a regular person. So if you want what you see on social media, then maybe you go be an influencer and see if it's easy. You know what I'm saying? See if it's easy, right? But a lot of these women also realize that so many of these influencers are living in debt, living in credit. I can't wait for the day, right? Because it's a lot of illusions out here. It's a lot of falsehoods out here, right? It's a lot of people painting a narrative. Even when a woman says to you, not to be shady, whatever, but even when a woman says, "Oh, my boyfriend is in Dubai," she can say whatever. Have you seen him? She could be lying to give herself a sense of mystique, to give herself this, to make people feel like, oh, I'm such in high demand, like the man in Dubai want me. It could be a bunch of bullshit. It could be a bunch of bullshit because she wants you to envy her life. Woman ain't shit. I don't know why girls don't understand that, right? So that's why when it comes to social media, you never envy anybody. You don't envy anybody. Trust what you have. Right? Trust what you have. Trust what you have. Take care of what you have. Nurture what you have. And I'll say this. Even when your husband gets on your nerves, mama tell you this, maybe you also get on his fucking nerves. You ever thought about that? Okay. Right? So when you want to start complaining about people, maybe you should also ask God, could there be a way that maybe I'm also a pain in the ass? God might say, yeah, he tired of your ass. Okay? Because it goes both ways. The feeling is mutual. Learn to pray for your husband as opposed to always complaining. Because imagine if the roles were reversed and he was always complaining about you, you would not feel empowered to do something better or to try to be better or you to want to change and things like that, right? Yeah, it does not empower anybody, anyone. If somebody's just always complaining about you, they complain, you're not gonna want to try harder. Like, oh, whatever, you're never happy anyway, so who cares? I'm damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? So you kind of have to be mindful, like, okay, am I nagging too much, right? Because it's a lot better to encourage people than to always nag about people, right? And sometimes ask yourself, because you might be the problem. Well, if all you see is flaws in other people, you might be the problem. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. It's like me, I'm like, I don't trust anything anybody says on social media. Because a lot of these women on social media have been known to lie. They have been known to lie. They lie a lot, right? And I can see also if you get to a certain age and you have a certain like social media presence, you have a certain number of followers, right? And you don't have a man. I could see the pressure because, well, look at my life. Because, a lot of stuff on social media is very performative, right? It's a very, very performative. People want to act rich. People want to act rich and single, living in this place, in this fancy place. It's a lot of people are, it's a performance, right? That's why they call them content creators, because they're performing. They're not real people. Yes, exactly. She's always lying, right? So I can see how if you get to be like 30, you're on social media, you have this huge audience, the girls think you're T, they think like you're the black girl luxury, whatever. I could see the pressure of you feeling like you need to make shit up. People are crazy. And a lot of modern women are narcissists. Like, I can see people lying about having a boyfriend in Dubai. I really can. And if the boyfriend's also real and people can't see the boyfriend, I can see him being other people's mans. Because he's not your husband, he's a boyfriend. And you can't properly nurture a relationship being in these crazy ass time zones. You live here and he's in the Middle East. Like, how'd that work? Right? And also if the person's face is not public, because most likely he belongs to other people. Right? So that's that. Understand? But I always feel like if a man is really, if a man is serious, right, he will let people know, like, no, that's mine right there. Right? And because he knows you do social media, so what's the problem? Right? But I'm like, me, Marlene, I don't trust people. Right? Because these women out here, they lie. Because they always have to give off the impression that, oh, something is happening in my life. These high-powered men are chasing after me. Well, I'm like, and for being so for real, why would a high-powered man chase after a lifestyle influencer? Like, you fake your life. They really live the life, right? Number two, all you do is makeup, hair, and things of the sorts. What else can you talk about? Philosophy? No. Politics? No. News? No. Okay. What else? You don't have substance. A lot of these women on social media are truly one-dimensional, right? You don't go to church. You don't have faith. You what do? You live a life of vanity, right? Yeah, you live a life of vanity. So I'm like, why would a high-value man be interested in that? There are girls out there who are super pretty, who went to these Ivy League schools. They come from very prestigious families where the father has lots of connections, father has money, prestige, their last name is powerful. If he ever was to marry her parents could actually pay for the wedding, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, girl, right? It's one thing to have a persona on social media. It's another thing to be like, oh, well, I'm able to attract these men and these men. No, you cannot, right? And many times also, women that are able to attract high caliber men, they most likely grew up around those people. Because rich people marry people they know. They don't marry people off of social media. Okay? Unless maybe you marry some goofy ass athlete somewhere or you have a baby with an athlete. But I'm like, when you talk about prestigious families, like, they marry amongst each other. They grew up with each other, right? Makes sense. So I'm like, people just lie. But I'm like, me, Marlene, I know how money works. And I know how rich people move. And the last thing a rich person's gonna do is get a girlfriend from social media who lives her life 24/7 behind a camera. That's not happening. Because people who are also really rich, they value their privacy. So how does it work? Right? How does it work? I was told a story about this one influencer. She's Congolese, right? She's also, like, her dad is a famous singer. So this guy, the soccer guy, wanted to marry her, but the mom said no. I'm like, well, I can see why the mother said no. Okay. The mom said no. She was like, she's not down for that stuff. I'm like, I can see why. Because the young lady, even though she's very pretty, y'all, all she does is makeup and clothes. She does her makeup, she dresses up, she takes pictures. That's it. You don't see her give to the poor. You don't see her work. You don't see her have a business. Like, all she does is worry about how she looks, very one-dimensional. And I'm like, yeah, the mom was like, nah. Because a woman has to have more than makeup. Like, oh, I do my makeup all day and I wear nice clothes all day. Okay, can you cook? Do you know how to, like, can you make something? Can you cook chicken? Can you clean? Can you scrub the floors? Right? What else can you do? Right? So the mom said, nah. So the engagement got broken up. Right? So who knows what she's doing now? Right? But I'm like, you see, because, like, you gotta be more than clothes and makeup. Right? It seems like there's one, I think she was dating a soccer player from but it seems like she's back creating content, huh? I guess the family said no also. Because what else do you have? Like, what death is there to you? So they might let their sons date you for a while, but when it comes down to serious business, they don't want you as a daughter-in-law. Because what do you do? Like, what can you actually do? What else do you do? They look at your page. All they see is just you. Makeup, hair, shoes, clothes. That's it. There's, like, do you do anything else? Right? Do you work? Do you care about anything? Like, no, it's like, it's very one-dimensional. And I'm like, that's crazy. Now, it works for social media, but for healthy relationships, though, it's a turnoff. Really, it's a turnoff. Like, your whole day is about you shoving a camera to your face. Yeah, I'm like, because he's Ivorian too, right? I think he was Ivorian, right? But I can see the mom saying no to that, and I think it was also younger than her. I can see the mama saying no, because I'm like, you don't do what? Married to a West African family? Do you even have, like, traditional values? I don't know. I'm like, this is kind of weird, but I'm like, Marlene, I don't put anything past people. Like, it's fun for a while, right? But even him too, I was like, this young man, he grew up in the slums of the Ivory Coast. He doesn't come from a noble family. Like, a lot of African soccer players, they come from the slums. Many of these guys can barely speak French. Like, they can barely speak a proper French. It's the same thing with Serge Ibaka, the basketball player, right? Serge can barely speak French because he's from the slums. Like, he really is. I'm like, what the frick? And that's why a lot of Congolese girls, like girls that are actually from Congo, are not running to date Serge Ibaka. Because it's not just about the money. It's also like his family and things like that. Like, the people from the slums. Now, for Carrie Hilson, because I guess you don't know much, she's impressed by that. Well, I guess so. But there's a reason why a lot of Congolese girls are not out here running behind Serge Ibaka. Because a lot of African athletes, not to be offensive, but they really, like, Black Americans have the ghettos. Like, we have slums, okay? Like, be so for real, right? They don't come for much. A lot of these guys can barely speak French. Like, they can barely, like, they speak a thing called Nushi. Like, it's a pigeon thing. It really is French pigeon. Like, it's so bad. Like, it's so horrible, right? But because they have money, you see the money, so you date these guys. But they're a bunch of nobodies. All they do is hit a soccer ball all day. You don't need brains for that. You just need to be very, very athletic. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, if you don't, yeah. If you don't learn to be multidimensional as a woman, and all you do is worry about makeup and clothes, even if you have guys that have money, it's not going to be high caliber men with money. Because those people, they go for girls that have a certain, like, pedigree, a certain background, right? You can buy luxury items, but it doesn't mean that you have the pedigree of money. You know what I'm trying to say? Like Sophia Richie, for example, right? Like her, because her daddy's Lionel Richie, like, this is her life. Like, imagine your father's like former Commodore Lionel Richie. Like, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? So for Julian Grange to marry her, it makes sense because look at his dad, look at her dad. That's how it goes, right? But I'm like, for you to be a woman that can pull these kinds of dudes and stuff like that, your own patriarchy got to be set. Your own patriarchy has to be set. Because these people like that, they're very, very elitist, right? They are truly, truly elitist. Like, your bloodline matters a whole lot to these people, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's about it. But I'm like, you can see a lot. Like, look, even Kiki Palmer, right? Kiki has a lot of money, but Kiki does not have a certain pedigree. And she can say, oh, because I don't want to marry guys with money. Girl, be quiet. Okay? Girl, please. If Trey Songz had said yes to her, she'd be like, yes, right? But it's like, these guys are very prestigious, this and that. They really care about a woman and her pedigree, right? And that's why many times they marry these girls that went to these prestigious schools. They have some crazy degree, even if it's arts, I mean, something like a minor in French or something like that. But they like a woman that's very well-rounded. And when you see, I mean, besides Jeff Bezos, but that's still marriage number 2, right? But I'm like, besides Jeff Bezos, though, right? But his first wife, Mackenzie, like many billionaires, their wives are really basic. Like the way they dress and stuff, very, very basic. But on paper, they're extremely accomplished, right? They are extremely accomplished. So men that have a shitload of money, the first thing they see in a woman is not her bag, it's not her clothes, it's not her hair, it's not her weave, right? They look for something more because all of that can be bought. Because if he's rich, he can pay for you to have a makeover. That's not a problem to him, right? But you'll see men who are rich, they go looking for something, they go for something a whole lot deeper, right? Now, men who just came into money recently, sure, but men also who came into money recently will not be the faithful type because now they have money they never had. So they want to try everything they couldn't try when they were younger because they didn't have the money. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and it's not just the person, it's the family, the mom, the dad, like Lori Harvey, for example, right? It's like the whole family, like, got money. You know what I'm saying? The whole family lives in luxury. So when you go into a family like that as a wealthy man, you don't feel like they're going to be a burden on you because they can take care of themselves. You know what I'm saying? They can take care of themselves. You know? But I'm like, I can see a lot of people out here just making up things like, oh, you know, my boyfriend's in Dubai. And yeah, sure, whatever. People can say all kinds of shit, right? Because once again, it's all about being performative and it's all about giving people the impression that you live this, how you know, this luxury life, whatever. But I'm like, listen, there are regular people in Dubai. There are people who live in regular apartments in Dubai. People gotta stop thinking that everybody in Dubai is rich. Okay. There are a lot of scammers in Dubai. There's a lot of foolishness in Dubai. So having a man in Dubai it means nothing to me, right? You don't have character because you live in Dubai. You're not a high achiever because you live in Dubai. You're not this. No, it's a lot of scammer people out there in Dubai. And they use the fact that they live in Dubai to bamboozle a lot of girls. Even Hush Puppy lived in Dubai. And now he in prison, right? So my thing is, do not look at what's out there and be like, oh my gosh, I wish I had a man in Dubai. I wish, no, you have what's right in front of you that you can hold, that you can see, that you can talk to, right? You understand? Because a lot of women lie. A lot of women lie. They lie to themselves and they lie to other women and they try to make other women feel as though, oh, look, you want what I have or there's something better. Yeah, maybe there is, right? Even me, I could be, oh my gosh, there's something better than James out there. But guess what? Jimmy could also say, well, I'm sure there's something better than Marlene out there. It goes both ways. It goes both ways. Just when you think there's a better him or there's better out there, he can say, yeah, I'm sure there's better out there somewhere too. But there comes a point where it's like, you know what? Even though theoretically there could be something better out there, it's a lot better to work with what you have. You know, it's a lot better to work with what you know. And it's a lot better to work with someone, to me, that has done more than most men you ever met, which is to say, you're going to be my wife. You have my kids. I'm not running away. I'm going to work. Whatever money I can make, you can have it all. I'll give it to you and the kids. I think that's a huge sacrifice. right? So to say, oh, well, I want to dress sexy, I want to dress this, girl, you got bigger problems. You got 5 kids. You got 5 kids. And your main issue should be your children, not how you dress. Can all your kids read? Can they all do math? Do they have the best grades they can have? Are you thinking about summer programs for your kids? Are you planning their future? Right? You're a mom now. You gotta leave childish things behind. You know? Maybe you can still dress nice. We have a lot of sisters who are Muslims. We have a lot of sisters who are Muslims. We have lots of sisters who are Muslim and wear the hijab and they're fully covered and they are extremely classy. Because sometimes when you show too much, it actually cheapens you, right? But I see a lot on my feet. I see a lot of girls who are Muslim wearing the hijab and their fashion eats down. They're fully covered, but it's very tasty, right? Things have to be done in taste. Just because a woman is fully covered does not mean she's not sexy. And just because you expose everything doesn't make you sexy as well. You don't have taste. All you want to be is a cheap ass thrill, right? That's crazy. Right? But I do believe when you get to a certain age and you have children, your number one concern are your kids, their grades, their reading scores, their math scores, like, planning out their future, where they're going to go to school, make sure they go to college, make sure they become good people. You got other things to worry about. Right? And then I do feel as though when they get older, especially when they go off to college, then you can have all the fun you want to have. Right? But your main priority should be thinking about your kids. You gotta think about your kids. I don't know how. I'm him one. I don't get that. Like me, I couldn't even think about fashion. I mean, I do love fashion too, but I think about traitorous grades more than I think about the fashion. Because to me, if he can make it through high school with a solid GPA, get into a great college and major in STEM, you guys, he's going to be good. Never, thank you, Jesus. Okay. Because if your oldest makes it, the other ones, the younger ones, they already have the blueprint. But if your first one is a failure, the middle child's like, well, I don't know. I guess, girl, if I fail, you ain't going to be that man. Okay. But I'm like, your first one is really like, that's like, he really has to make it, because if you make it, you become a blueprint for your younger siblings. Right. I'm like, we have to grow up. You got to grow up. Like, there are things you could do. There are things I could do when I was 25. I'm 40 now. You know what I'm saying? I am 40 years old. Oh, I need to dress sexy. Sexy has to evolve with your age. You see Miss Yvonne right there? Very pretty, very beautiful. Right? Look at Miss Yvonne. Right? But to me, that's what being beautiful is. And I'm sure, like, when she shows up fully covered, like, yeah, Miss Yvonne, you ate down. Because as a woman ages, like, her beauty, like, I don't know, like, her beauty, her aura, her mystique, it's not even so much like, dressing sexy. No, it's just her wisdom makes her beautiful. I don't know. Go ahead, Miss Yvonne, right? Her wisdom makes her beautiful. Her aura, her feminine energy, like the fact that like, she's a mother, she's an aunt, she's a protector, she gives advice, like she's been here, like 62 years. Seen it all. Like, yes, confidence, you know what I mean? Right? That's what to me makes a woman sexy. When you're young, when you're a young lady, like when you're like 19 and 18, you don't know shit. Like your boobs just came out, your ass just started coming out. So you want everybody to see it because you never had a body before. Like, you're going through puberty, right? Everything brand new. Like, woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying? But as you get older, you realize that, like, I want to be known and I want to be appreciated for something way different, way more meaningful than my boobs and my behind. Like, this is crazy. That's so damn crazy. That's for the birds, right? Like, it's your energy, it's your presence, right? And also, I think as you grow up, as a woman grows up, her taste has to be mature. But just because you're covered up, does not mean that you are not attractive. Like, that's why I'm like, Michelle Obama's getting on my nerve right now. But, Michelle Obama as the first lady, to me, that it's not, to me, I don't know. I love Michelle Obama as the first lady. This activist, Michelle Obama, I don't know, but it's like the fashion style. But to me, that is sexy. You know what I mean? To me, this is what's sexy at 30, at 40. Like, this is what it means to me. Okay. You guys, Michelle Obama had the fashions, y'all. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, Lord. She used to just be quiet and just dress up. Okay. But I'm like, you see? But it's like everything is covered up. I mean, like, yeah, the arms are showing, but it's modest sexy. Right? But you're like, damn, she has a beautiful body. She really does. Right? You see? But she's covered up. This one was nice, though. Hold on. You see? You see that? You see this? To me, she's fully covered up, but nobody's going to say, oh, that's not sexy. No, this is really sexy. Right? Right? Like, this to me is really, really sexy. What's my girl from Abbott Elementary? What's her name? She can also dress. And you know who else had a great evolution with her fashions? Fantasia. Quinta. Oh, yes. Quinta can dress, you guys. Oh, Lord. Quinta can dress. But it's never revealing. Never, ever. Hold on. Let me show you. Hold on. You see? Quinta can dress, y'all. She can dress down. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Okay? And it's never revealing. Oh, Lord. Where did I click on? And this is why I'm upset with Beyonce, because to me, this is how Beyonce should have like aged up, like with more style, more grace, like more fashion, you know? So for me to see Beyonce out here with her boobs out, her butt is out, her butt cheeks is out, I really feel like that is just so degrading. So degrading. For all the work she's put in, that is crazy. You guys, oh my gosh. Quinta, nah. You see? Right? Melania too. I really feel like Melania can also dress. Like, I saw her in I saw Melania in like a tux. It was really nice. Like this little parachute stuff. It was a moment. I loved it. Melania can also dress. Hold on. At least if I can find some of her fashions. Hold on. Yeah. See? Melania can also dress. She could. This one was super cute. I love that one. That was super cute. Super, super cute. Right? But I'm like, Melania also can really dress down. But I'm like, no one is going to ever say, oh my gosh, she's oppressed, or, oh, she dresses like a mommy and things like that. It's like, no. Like, as you grow up as a woman, your style, your taste has to evolve. You don't have, like, you're no longer sitting here trying to see, oh, how can I wear the least amount of clothes because I want a man to give me attention? No, no, you're past that. You are so past that. You are so past that. And not even just that too, because of the kind of woman you are, the caliber of woman that you are right now, you don't even want random people to walk up to you. You're crazy, right? But when you wear the cheap fashions, the highly revealing clothes and stuff like that, right? It signals to any man, any dog, oh yeah, I can go up and talk to her, right? But there's a way you dress, there's a way you carry yourself that people know, okay, if you ain't got money, don't talk to her, right? You just don't. But I'm like, to me, these women are very much sexy. Even growing up, like we had Donna Karen in New York, like DKNY, right? But I'm like, to me, Donna Karen, her fashion was always grown woman sexy. You don't have to be half naked to be sexy. To me, the least amount of clothes you wear actually gives a lot. It gives cheap and it gives insecure. Like you are looking for validation. You know, you are desperately seeking attention from men because you don't know how to get attention from men without using your body. And that to me is really sad. You know what I mean? Like to me, that is incredibly sad, right? But you can be well dressed, well put together, fully covered up, and still exude a lot of sexiness, a lot of class, you know, a lot of confidence. Right? Okay, like that she's a really beautiful woman, right? Yeah, exactly. Like there you go. There you go, right? But you don't have to be half naked. You don't have to be. You see, and this is why also men have woman fatigue because they see it all. You know what I mean? Like before, it was really hard to see a woman's body like that, her legs, her arms, her boobs. Like, it was so hard to see that because most women were covered up, right? But today, men see it all the time, 24/7. It's all over the FYP page. So not even a woman's naked body doesn't mean much because it's been so bastardized. It's been so trivialized. You see it all the time. And when you see something all the time, it loses its value. It just does, right? So I feel like also if women want men to go back to being old school and traditional, women will have to start covering up also. Okay, got to cover up. Right? But you have to know that being a sexy woman is not just about how you dress. It's your mindset, it's your maturity, it's the way you communicate with people. It's also the way that you listen to people. Right? It's sad because today, what it truly means to be a woman has been reduced to consumerism. Clothes, makeup, shoes, bags, weaves. I'm like, child, please, those things come and go. And when you see the women out here that have the man that most women want, right? Most of those women do not adhere to any of these rules of consumerism. They don't have BBLs. They don't do their lips. They don't wear a bunch of makeup. And they're all married to billionaires. I mean, besides Jeff Bezos' new wife, right? Right? But even her, when she was natural, she was dating a lot of affluent men. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you do not have to be half naked, right? And if your husband has an issue with you being half naked, I get that, because why do you still need that? Right? Why do you still need that? I'm like, you have to go to therapy. Right? Do you have daddy issues? Like, growing up where you're not cute? Do the guys never look at you? You never had a little boyfriend in high school? Like, what's going on? Like, why do you still feel as though you need attention from men at your big age? Right? You're good. Like, most men should be like, wow, like she must be doing well in her marriage. Like, she must be loved. She must be good, right? You should not be reeking of desperation like that. It's crazy to me. And that's why I say, when you're married, you got to be very careful who you listen to. Okay. When you are married, you got to be very careful the voices that you listen to, because unfortunately, a lot of married women are out here listening to sirens. And if you're a married woman and you listen to a siren, she's going to mess up your mind so much that you'll just go and just destroy your marriage because you're listening to the wrong kind of people. You are just listening to the wrong kind of people, right? That's why, for the most part, if you are a married woman, you have to listen to other married women who are helping you to have a healthy perspective on your marriage, right? They help you to be a bit more balanced. Okay, like, why are you so critical of your husband like that, right? Because maybe you're so critical of him because you're truly critical of yourself, right? You're not happy with yourself. So therefore, you're picking on him because you also want him to not be happy with himself. Right? Because usually people who are happy with themselves are not extra picky on other people. You know, that's not how it works, right? If you also do not have a vision for your life, right? Because maybe you feel as though, hey, I have 5 kids. I spend a lot of time at home with my kids, so I feel like I've lost myself, or this, and that. And maybe you're having somewhat of an identity crisis because you don't know who you are, because you think all you are now is a mom, right? I understand that also, right? I really do. But the thing is, you also have, instead of fighting your mom era, embrace it. You know, life is so much easier when you embrace things that you can't help, as opposed to you trying to fight it. You know, because they do need you. It's a reality. Like, you are a mom. You know what I'm saying? And so right now you are in your mommy era. So instead of trying to fight it because you want to reclaim the young woman you used to be, you're no longer that person. And you made that choice once you agreed to be married and you agreed to carry the children, right? That's it. I could sit here and cry for my 25-year-old self, but what good would that do me, right? You have to embrace your era. So, like, even me, I'm a mom of 3. That's my mommy era right now, right? That's it. And then one day, everybody's gonna go off to college, and that's gonna be a whole new era, right? So I think a lot of women, they really have an identity crisis, because I think when they get on social media, there is so much mommy bashing. Oh, you're just a mom. Oh, you lost yourself. This man's going to leave you. You know, and they have all these like, they always have doom and gloom stories about the worst man who left the woman with the kids, you know, and that's what these women do because they're very bitter. They're very miserable, right? Not everybody's man leaves. Not everybody's man is a cheater, right? So I don't know, right? But you have to you really, really have to be careful who you listen to. And I think you should listen to people who encourage you to embrace motherhood, who encourage you to embrace being married, right? And to try to see it from both sides. Okay, you see it this way because that's how you feel, but try to also see it from your husband's perspective, right? Because he might not be all the way wrong, right? So you also have to receive his criticism. The same way when you speak to him and you have grievances and you want him to listen to you, you also got to listen to him. Because if you never listen to him, then why do you expect him to listen to you, right? So if you want him to listen to you, you got to start by being a good listener. And that's why when you talk to people, especially people that you care for, when somebody says, oh, you know, I want to tell you X, Y, and Z because when you did this, it made me feel this way. When you're an active listener, you will tell the person what you think, what you think they meant to say, right? So you go, okay, so what you're telling me is when this happened, it made you feel this, right? Okay, so moving forward, you want me to act this way. Cool, right? Cool. So when somebody talks to you and you're actually doing active listening, you should be able to tell the person back everything they said to you. So that way, if there's any incomprehension, they can fix it. They're like, no, I didn't mean that. I meant this. Okay, then you say it again, right? You keep repeating what they've told you until you get it right. Understand? Because that's how you do active listening. So if you start showing a person that you actually do listen when somebody talks to you, you're not listening to argue, you're not listening to shame people, you're not listening to embarrass people, but you're actually listening because you want to make sure, like, listen, I want you to know, I appreciate you, I respect what you have to say. I want you to know that, you know, I mean, your feelings might be a little crazy, but I want to hear your feelings and I want us to work together so we can fix this, right? So talk to me. Right? And then you repeat back what they said so you can have confirmation that you heard right. Right? And we're all good, right? Okay, cool. Now let me tell you how I feel. And then you also reciprocate. Okay, so you're saying that when I do da, it makes you feel this way, and therefore you would like for me to do da. Is that correct? Yes. Right. And I feel like this is where a lot of relationships, they go left. Because sometimes I do believe that you have people who probably really do love each other, but they don't know how to talk to each other and they don't know how to listen. Because unfortunately today, people's ears have been so weaponized that when people hear any kind of criticism, they think they're being attacked. You see, the devil's out here, champ. The devil's out here. And so that kind of confusion where you think somebody criticizing you is an attack, it makes it really hard to talk to people. So what happens is that people stop talking. And when they do talk, they're yelling, right? Which is sad. So lack of communication, a breakdown communication leads a lot of people to file for divorce. When it's like, you don't even need to divorce. You need to learn, you guys have to learn how to talk to each other, do so respectfully, right? And you also have to learn to listen. You have to listen, right? But a lot of people don't have humility to listen. Because they think they know it all. Because they saw something on TikTok, right? But it's like, no. And this is something that as you're married, your entire marriage, you are always going to work on how you talk to each other and how you hear each other out. And you have to listen to somebody say something to you without feeling attacked. Everything is not an attack, but it has to be said, right? Yeah, but it depends how you say it, Margaret. It depends. Because one thing I will say, Black women, I'm going to call you out, but it's not just Black women, it's mostly modern women too, though, right? Is that we have a tendency when we want to have a conversation, it got to happen right now. And I'm like, no, that's disrespectful, right? Maturing is realizing that everything don't have to happen on your time. You get me right? Being a Christian woman, I'm assuming you're a Christian woman, but being a Christian woman, you get to a place just like you can ask God for something. That don't mean he has to give it to you by tomorrow. I heard you. And when you're ready for it, it'll show up in your life. right? We ask God for this. I do believe God has heard us, but it doesn't mean that he's required to give it to us by tomorrow, because you got to have the skill set for what you ask. Sometimes you ask for stuff because you think I want it, I need it. You might be right, but unfortunately, you haven't done a full assessment, right? You haven't done a full assessment to be like, you know what, I'm asking for this, but do I even have the skills of stewardship for that? You get me, right? So I'm gonna say this. So I don't know, but I will say this, right? That when we want to talk, we're like, okay, if I want to talk to you, it got to happen right now. And I say, no. Is this a good time to talk? I think everybody should always lead with that, man or woman. Like, no, because because the person has to be mentally ready for the conversation, because they might still be upset. Like let's say you have, like, her and her husband, right? You're having an argument, but oh, do you want to go shopping? The man is still processing all the mean things you said yesterday. Right? So that's why I said, especially after an argument and things like that, I think people should ask, right? Is this a good time for us to talk? Because that's what polite people do. Just like when you're at work, you can't just barge into somebody's office. Like hey, can I get on your schedule? When are you free? Da, da, da. And you figure out a time when you fit on somebody's schedule. But usually because we live in the same house, or because we have somebody's number, well, since we live in the same house, I'm going to show up in your face and just start talking. Whoa, boundaries. That's a little too much now, because he might not be ready. And God forbid he says something he don't want to say. But because you're not allowing the person to say, can we do it tomorrow? Because tomorrow, he knows mentally he got to be ready for that conversation. So he's going to come ready to the conversation. But right now, he might still be upset. Just because you calm down doesn't mean he's calmed down. And people have to respect that, right? You know what I'm saying? If take me and James, for example, right? I do believe, he's right there, but I do believe that I move on a lot quicker. He's a Gemini, so he lingers, okay? And you don't know who he wants to be. But it's like, just because you might cool off doesn't mean the next person has cooled off also. They might need an extra 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Because we're different people, right? We're in a relationship, but we're not, even if we were Siamese twins, we're still different people, right? So your timing might not be his timing. So that's why I feel as though it's always good to say to a person, is this a good time to talk? And if the person says no, don't take offense, because you asked the question, right? And then the person answered and say, no, it's okay. Says, this is not a good time, won't be a good time to talk. They might say 2 days from now. Okay. And the next 2 days, do not talk about it, because the person said in 2 days, they need time to calm down. And they also need time to process their own feelings. So that when you guys have the conversation, it doesn't get disrespectful. Because if someone is not ready to talk, but because you want to do it, so they're doing it, it's going to be tit for tat. And it's actually going to get worse. It's not going to get any better, right? And so I'm like, if it's tomorrow, it's 2 days from now, it's actually probably better. Because now that everybody's a bit far removed from the argument, people calm down. You slept on it, he slept on it. I think for the most part, now we can talk about it from a calmer place, because emotions are not super high, right? That's why even me, I've always said, if you're a woman and you're mad, drink some water, go to sleep, take a nap. It's okay to, like your brain's like a computer. It's okay to turn it off, right? Go to bed, trust God, right? But I do feel like a lot of women in their relationship, they don't trust God. So I got to talk right now. I got to handle this. Why? Why do you have control issues? Right? You can have an argument with someone. You can have a really bad argument with a person. That doesn't mean he doesn't love you. Sometimes we have a saying in French, it's like, qui aime bien châtie bien. It's like, the more I love you, the more I chastise you, right? Sometimes because people love each other so much, they know how to bring the worst out of each other, right? But I think sometimes, like, you can have arguments that can get really, really high. The pitch can get really, really high. Mean things can get said. And then a woman might get scared. Oh, does he not love me anymore? Why is your mind even going there? You started it. Okay, he had to finish it, right? That's why I say shit shouldn't get disrespectful. If you know you're sensitive, make sure that when you talk to people, it don't get disrespectful, because you know you're sensitive. A lot of women know they're sensitive, but they raise the pitch. They raise the disrespect. And then when the man meets that energy, because it's a masculine energy, right? You're leaving your little feminine sphere to go talk to this man in a very disrespectful masculine tone. So when yes, you're a woman, but the energy right now is extremely masculine. So then when he responds to that with masculine energy, then you should have brought it there, right? A woman always wins in her conversation, whatever, when she keeps it low, right? The more calm you are, the more friendly you are, the better it's going to be, right? Now, let's also talk about this, because sometimes what could happen is that maybe now you've changed, but before you were not so mature. And unfortunately, even though you know you've changed, he might not trust that you've changed. So he's still thinking of you as the woman that he used to argue with before. Because that can happen too, though. I know, like for me also, I can say that because I think for me also, like the more spiritual I became, initially, I think Jimmy was used to the old crazy me. He's like, what the heck is a trap? Right? No, it's not a trap. But sometimes you might know that you've changed, or you might want to change, or you might be really serious about your growth. And I want to talk differently. I want to be different. I want to be calmer and things like that. But right now, the person remembers the old you. There you go. So he's not trusting that, because the old you couldn't be trusted. I told a friend that. I was like, because she was like, oh, Marlene, I told him he could talk to me, one thing, womp, womp. But I'm like, there's what you say, and then there's what he sees. So obviously, if he hasn't talked to you, or he hasn't opened up to you, because he doesn't feel like you're a safe space, right? And it's the little things, right? And the little things we do, or things we say, even the little silly ass jokes we make. So someone might be like, yeah, don't trust Reyes. Because if you tell her some shit, one day she gets mad, she gonna weaponize that and use it against you. So I think some men also feel as though some women are not a safe space. So it could be like now you want to be more mature in this, and that, because you've made that choice. And fortunately, the sting of the former you and how the former you used to argue, that's the paradigm he still has of you. So you're going to have to be consistent in the new you for like a year, like 6 months to a whole year, for him to be like, wow, like it's not a grift. She's actually really serious. Like she really is trying to move in a different vibration. And I'm really seeing that, right? So I feel like the more you commit to be more mature, be more level-headed, be friendlier in conversation and disagreements, to not attack, to not weaponize anything that was said to you in private, like, you know what I'm saying? He's slowly going to catch up. Like, okay, like Margaret is like, she's for real. Like she no longer wants to argue the way we used to argue. And this is like, it's something new. But he could still have the old you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's possible, Margaret, that the old you was very, very mean. You know what I'm saying? It's possible that you were very, very mean. And it's really possible. Yes, hey, Race. Yeah, it's possible that the old you was very mean. And it's possible that the old you said some really painful things. So now he has learned he's ready for you. Like, girl, come outside and see what happens. Okay. Like he's ready for you. And you're like, but I'm not that person anymore. He's like, yeah, right. Okay. So that too. But I feel like if you know that in the past, that you used to argue, unclean, dirty, you should also apologize. You know what I'm saying? You should apologize. You should apologize to him. Like, you know what? I do realize that in the past, the way I would go about things, it wasn't very mature and it wasn't kind. Okay. And if I did hurt, most likely I hurt you, I scarred you, if my words have, really caused you harm, I'm really sorry. Okay. And moving forward, I promise I'm really going to try. I'm not perfect, but I'm really going to try, right, to not be that person and to not talk to you this way, because seriously and honestly, everybody is sacred. Like everybody's feelings are sacred. Everybody's humanity is sacred, right? And I do believe, that's why I say, like, to me, that's why I always stress, like, men and women have to understand, like, we're all human beings. People are sacred. And I do believe that relationships, that nobody got forced in here, nobody put a gun to anybody's head. So I'm like, if you agree to be in a relationship with someone, vice versa, I do believe like mature people should do everything in their power to make it a safe space. Right? Nobody should fear, oh my gosh, like, is my fiance, man or woman, going to weaponize something I told them when I was sad? Is my fiance going to cuss me like a wet dog? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like strangers, you might expect some BS from those people. But I do feel like when you are in a relationship, especially people who do plan on being married and spending the rest of their lives together, it should really be a safe space. It should not be a place where you get attacked, insulted, everything is always thrown back in your face and things like that. Life is short. Life is really short, right? So I'm like, it should be a good, it should really be a good space. It should really be a safe space, where hey, you can mess up. And if you do, you will be corrected, but it's not going to be in a degrading fashion. And that's why I will also say any woman who wants to be married, any woman who is currently engaged or is married, right? You got to stay away from women who talk to men crazy, right? Like bunch of women that use the N-word. Stop messing with these people. Because as a woman, as a fiance, wife, whatever, you should never call your man the N-word. I'm like, it's a racial slur, y'all. It really is. We got to stop using that word. Like, it really is, right? You have some girls who call guys bitch ass. You know what I mean? So I'm like, if you have women in your life that talk like that and they talk about men that way, you have to sever those relationships. And they might be offended, but one day they'll get it. And if they do ask, like, well, now that I'm in a relationship, I'm engaged, I'm married, I don't want to be a woman that talks like that to a man. Definitely not my husband, right? And because I wouldn't like it if he talked to me that way. And I would not like it also if he hanged out with people who refer to women as bitches and hoes. Like, I'm like, that's crazy. Okay, that's really crazy, right? So you gotta really, really pay attention to your sister circle, because sometimes if you want your marriage to be a success, there are certain people you'll have to say goodbye to until they decide to do better. Make sense? Because the speech is so important. Your tongue is so important, right? And I think part of being a woman, part of being a beautiful woman, is that you measure the things that come out your mouth, right? When you speak, your words actually have purpose. And whenever you speak, you try to speak life into people, right? Speak life into your man, speak life into yourself. Whenever the day you get pregnant, speak life into your womb. When you have children, speak life into your children. If you have a dog, you speak life into your dog, right? A woman needs to be really, really sweet with her words, like, because a lot of people have been beaten up. A lot of people have been beaten up. So I think there's nothing more beautiful than a woman, than a wife who understands, like, what, my husband also needs to hear words of affirmation, positivity, kindness, love, because he's only going to be better because of that. And therefore, when there is an argument or there's a disagreement, he's probably going to be more receptive, because what he knows from his woman is kindness. You know what I mean? Like, she's a kind person. She speaks life into me. So if she's really upset, then she probably really is upset, right? But if you are always insulting people, you demean people, and you get mad, no one gives a fuck, because you're mean. You're really mean. You are really mean. So people don't care, right? And the Bible even says that, like, the tongue is like, it's so small, but it can set an entire forest on fire, right? It can make people so mad, so angry. Some people grab guns, some people grab a knife, some people go do all kinds of crazy shit. But I just feel like you got to stay away from a lot of ladies that just don't know how to talk to men and don't know how to talk about men, because you'll pick up on that. And then when you get mad, it's going to start coming out of you, because that's all you listen to, right? That's all you listen to. But I will say this, like, if you know for real that, in the past, you've said some really hurtful things and you have never truly, truly apologized, like, from a, wow, like, God really convicted me type of place, right? You really need to apologize to him, And I think after that, he's going to feel a whole lot better. You know what I'm saying? Because he's probably still hurt. You know what I mean? Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we all have to be respectful. You can be upset, I won't say you have the right to be upset, because it depends on your perspective. Because sometimes you might be upset just because you have the wrong perspective, right? That's why I say sometimes there's sins of omission, there's sins of commission. But I also feel like there's offense that, like, people feel offended because you don't have the right perspective, because you're not thinking about the bigger picture. Or you think that your relationship has to look like her relationship. And because it doesn't, you are frustrated. But it's like, girl, first and foremost, you can't guarantee for real, that her relationship is exactly what she's telling you it is, because a lot of women lie. Okay. Now, let's assume her relationship is everything she portrays her relationship to be. Good for her. Good for her. right? And I'm happy for her. I love that for her, right? But your relationship is your relationship, right? So it's going to work how it works, right? As long as you two are finding happiness in this and it works for y'all, that's all that matters, right? And also, everybody's love language is different. I think that's where a lot of women also get messed up in the head because, oh, but her man is doing this and my man is not doing this. Yeah, but there are things that your man is doing that her man is not doing, right? Because everybody's love language is different, right? Like you'll see, like especially on social media, they have these rituals of emasculation. You'll see a man behave like a maid, like he cooks, he cleans, he takes out her braids, da, da, da. Sure, they do that for content. More power to them. So I guess that's his love language, right? Whatever helps her to make money so he don't have to work. Now you have some other guys, they might never be able to cook for you because maybe they work a lot. Maybe they have their own business. Like, that's not something they can do. But if you were to ever get sick, your mom was to ever get sick, they could be like, you know what? I'll take care of everything. I'll pay for everything. Right? This one, because he cooks and cleans, he don't have no income. Right? So everybody's love language is different. Right? And everybody's challenges in relationships are different. And how everybody's man will show up is also different. But just because he doesn't show up the way social media tells you he should show up doesn't mean he's not solid. A lot of people on social media are stupid. They're extremely stupid. Okay? Right? So, well, I think you can write it, but I think if the disrespect was verbal, the apology also should be verbal, right? You should, because I'm like, to me also, like the writing stuff, a written apology is a way of apologizing without actually saying it with your own mouth, which I think could low-key be pride, right? Because if you insulted someone with your mouth, why can't you apologize with your mouth? Right? Why can't you say, I'm sorry with your mouth? Why don't you write it? Right? You have to say it. And they need to hear you say it. Imagine somebody say, oh, is it okay if I write I love you and I don't ever say it? Like, no, if you love someone, you should be able to say it. Right? But you insult someone verbally, but then you want to write an apology. Why don't you just write your insult? So that way they have a choice not to read what you wrote and don't feel disrespected. Right? So I'm like, no, I think you should. I really do believe that maybe you write the apology, but you have to say it. Gotta say it. The same way you stood and you disrespected someone, you gotta stand and say it. And maybe you're like, you know what? I don't ever want to have to do this again. There you go. So when you disagree with people, you have to learn that you have to remain respectful, right? You don't have to degrade someone to get your point across. That's really unhealthy, right? You don't have to demean a human being, especially someone you want to be with. Because what if that person has resentment because you took it too far? That's why I feel like when it comes to Matthew Knowles and Tina Knowles, I'm like, maybe that's why he cheated on her. Because maybe he had resentment against her. Because she did leave. She left him. Because he quit his job and he decided to manage Beyonce, right? Maybe that made him feel away. Because when you get married, you said for rich or for poor. But now the man's about to be poor and you pack your bags and you leave. What does that say about you, though? Right? So I'm like, maybe he has resentment. Because why is it that he's been married now for 10 years and she has 2 divorces and a bunch of plastic surgery? Like, I feel like something could be wrong with Tina Knowles. Right? And I think her mouth is nasty. And I think she doesn't know how to respect the man. Right? And so people don't stay because she's insufferable. She really is insufferable. I'm gonna make a video one day. I don't know one day, but I'm gonna make a video one day and say, like, the way, like the basis of the video, like the topic of the video, is kind of like when a man cheats, because people are, oh my gosh, you should never cheat, Okay, cool, whatever. But I'm like, sometimes I feel like maybe some women just were not mature enough to know how to handle their relationships, and it led to infidelity. I feel like sometimes a woman can push a man into another woman's arms. Like, ultimately that's his choice to sleep with that lady. But I feel like some men also probably feel so invisible. So the moment a woman says hi or she looks at him, she brings him lunch, he's like, wow, because he's been so neglected, and people don't want to talk about that because, we're in a very feminist society. So you can never say that a woman is responsible for her man cheating. But I'm like, you know what I'm saying? It depends, right? Because I'm like, talk about the mans who work hard and they put their wives in charge of the money. And then he realizes that she squandered all the money. Now he hates her guts. Right? Oh, don't cheat. Yeah, but also don't steal because you stole his money. Right? What about mothers who were extremely disrespectful? You insult your husband, you cuss him out in front of the children, you cuss the husband out in front of family and visitors and things like that. You emasculate him, right? Maybe that's why he got fed up with your ass and he just left because you're really disrespectful, right? But when we sit here and say, "Oh, my mom did nothing wrong. This woman did nothing wrong," I don't know. I do believe that you have some sweet ladies who get cheated on, right? That does happen. But I also do believe that you have some wives that are bullies, and the man just gets tired. He gets tired of disrespect. He gets tired of not being appreciated. He gets tired of nobody ever saying thank you. Oh, I want more. I want more of this, more of that, right? And then there's barely any sex in the marriage. Also, let's talk about that part because a lot of marriages are sexless marriages. Okay. So it's like, but damn, right? So I do believe the man should be like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm done. If this doesn't change it or not, right? But hey, people are people. Nobody's perfect, right? But I'm like, we need to talk about that one day, right? Because to all the young ladies out here getting married or who are currently married, right? They need to know so they don't make the same mistakes as the mothers and then end up getting cheated on, the man just leaving with another woman, never coming back, because I'm saying this, you guys, if you have a great man, I do believe it's really, really important to make him feel appreciated. It really is, right? You have to. You really, really have to. And so if you feel like you've been neglectful, if you feel like maybe I don't really show love like that, I really do urge you, to step it up, to really step it up. You know what I'm saying? You have to step it up. You probably can't do it every day, right? But try to be more mindful. Try to be more mindful of that. Really and truly try to be more mindful because, people can be it's human to be in a relationship and to feel neglected, right? It's very normal to be in a relationship and feel like I'm invisible. I'm not. Even women go through that too. Like you have wives who feel like they're not being appreciated. The man is not saying thank you. The kids are not appreciating her, right? And I'm saying if you feel it, he probably feels it too, right? So I'm like, and that's why when you are married, right? I will say that's why it's really important for everybody, people, mom and dad, I mean, man and woman, right? To try as much as possible to make sure that we fill each other's cup, right? Fill his cup and he fills your cup, right? And whenever you feel like your cup is not being filled, give him a gentle reminder. Whenever he feels like his cup is not being filled, he should also give you a gentle reminder, right? But intimacy really matters, right? And I feel like part of intimacy is not just sex, but it's the sweet words. It's the, it's the friendship. It's, it's the, how can I say that? Like, it's like you're two partners in crime kind of thing, right? I'm like, to me, I feel like that really, really matters, right? But you have a lot of women, for example, who will try to make you feel bad because, oh, you're doing too much or you're doing this or you're doing that. But it's like, yeah, I'd rather do it than have somebody else do it. Just like I'm sure he will say, well, I'd rather do it for her before somebody does it for her, right? I want to be your everything. You also be my everything, right? So that's it. And then people only have eyes for each other. And when you're away, you can't wait to see each other because you really, truly appreciate each other's company and stuff like that, right? But there are a lot of people, they allow themselves to get into a routine. They allow themselves to just take stuff for granted. They don't affirm each other. They don't give words of affirmation to each other. They don't give words of love to each other, right? So yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, because there's no need for that. There's no need for that, right? So I'm like, to me, I think, I don't know, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I do feel like it would make it very, very hard, even for the most beautiful siren of them all, to come and just lure your man into some foolishness. He'd be like, yeah, you're very pretty. Yes, I could have sex with you, but compared to what I stand to lose, it's just not worth it. But if some men are out here ready, like, to lose it all, sometimes I do wonder, do they feel lonely in the house? Like even the guy from Coldplay, right? Even the guy who cheated on his wife, right? The Coldplay concert thing, right? right? Those two cheaters and stuff like that. But I will say, for as much as, nobody wants to see that. It was so embarrassing. I was like, what the heck, right? But I do wonder, like, does his wife even want to go out with him? Does she want to go out with him? Like, does she say, oh, no, I got to do this. No, I got to do that. No. You know what I mean? Because maybe he likes going out to concerts and she doesn't. You know what I mean? Maybe, I'm not saying it's okay I'm not saying that, but I can also see how people can get lonely. Like, even look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't even know how Maria Shriver did not realize the nanny was pregnant. Because, Arnold Schwarzenegger got the nanny pregnant. So she's pregnant, right? Then she would bring the baby to the house. And I'm like, Maria, you never looked at that baby like, oh, he looks like my husband? Were you really that busy? I'm like, that's just so damn crazy. That's just so damn crazy to me. But your nanny gets pregnant. Your maid gets pregnant. Then the maid brings the baby to the house. You've never looked at that baby and be like, I've seen this face before. I'm like, girl, what? So were you not paying attention to him at all? Girl, you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I wonder, because I'm like, sometimes it's like, because I saw this video and the girl was like, yeah, she has a client and the client said to her that he's divorcing his wife because she gained weight. And I'm like, okay, you guys love to phrase shit like that because it's all about race baiting, right? Is he divorcing her because she put on weight? Or is he divorcing her because since she's put on the weight, she's not fun anymore, right? Because maybe now that she's bigger, she's more self-aware. She doesn't feel as confident. She doesn't want to go out. She doesn't want to have sex. You got to turn off the lights and this and that. So is it because she's gained weight or is it because she's changed now that she's gained weight? And also, she's not trying to do anything to lose the weight. You know what I'm saying? Because that could be a thing also. But when you phrase it as, oh, he's divorcing her because she gains weight, you're making this man sound like he's extremely vapid. All he cares about is a skinny wife. And I'm like, I think there's more to it, right? Yeah, you see, that's all. Yeah, also that how much weight has she gained? Because I don't think a man will be, oh, my wife gained weight, so I'm divorcing her. I don't think so. But if that impedes your behavior, like you're sad, you're depressed, you don't want to go out anymore, you quit your job, you don't have any hobbies, like, you're just a drag. And also, you don't want to come up with a plan. So how long is this going to last? You get me, right? Because I'm like, that's also not fair, right? Because you gain weight, but we still got to live. So you have a choice. You can either put on the big dress, we go to this damn concert, or you lose the weight and we go to the concert. But if you lose weight, if you gain weight as a wife or you gain weight as a man, right? And because you gain the weight, now you're down, you're sad, you're depressed. And concurrently, you're also not trying to come up with a plan. You have to see how that's not fair to the other person. Because the person they married was fun, outgoing, friendly, energetic, this, and that. Right? And also, if you need help, say so. Do you want him to walk with you? Do you want him to help you meal prep? Like, how can he help you to make sure that you achieve your weight loss goals, right? We got to talk. But if you gain weight and then you shut down and it's been years and you're not finding yourself, well, I kind of understand where he's coming from. Because you can't hijack someone's life like that. You know what I'm saying? And these are not to be mean, but these are conversations that sometimes women don't want to have, but we need to have that because it's not just about you. There's somebody else in the relationship, right? So I'm like, okay, this man, I don't agree with him doing this, but I also do wonder, like, would his wife had agreed to go there? You know what I'm saying? And just have fun and, go to the Coldplay and let's hug, let's kiss in public, or she's too, she's too motherly now to do stuff like that. Because you got to know how to switch it up. You know what I'm saying? You got to know how to switch it up. Does that make sense, you guys? Because sometimes people can feel neglected. You know what I mean? When he comes home, you're already asleep. He sleeps, you're up. Like, there's no more connection. You've allowed this marriage to turn into some kind of bromance, like some kind of roommate situation. Like, you're not roommates, you're husband and wives. Like, when was the last time like you guys actually went on a fun date and did something just the two of y'all? Right? Does that make sense? So that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, when we see this, it really, really is a bad look. I'm not defending this as a bad look, but I'm just saying, could it also be that we're looking at a man who hasn't gone out on a date with his wife in a very, very long time because she doesn't feel confident? You know what I'm saying? I would love to talk to both of them. Like, how did we get here? Because I think we can all learn from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes when there's a cheater and the man, whatever, right? But when there's a cheater, oh, you cheated, we want you to lose your life and destroy you. But I feel like sometimes we should also talk to cheaters. Why did you cheat? What happened? Right? How did we get here? How did you go from I love this woman to now you are fully engaged with another woman? How does that happen? Because I like to study stuff like that. I like to know psychology stuff. Like, I would love to know, how did we get here, so that other women can learn. And even your wife also, she might learn it, because she might want to stay, she might want to leave. It's up to her, right? But I think it's really nice to know, how did we get here? Like this girl right here, like this, your HR lady, what was it about her that you like so much that you're like, okay, I'm a CEO and I'm willing to risk it all, right? Did she call you hot? Did she text you like nasty shit? I don't know, did she call you poppy? What did she do? Right? Because I'm like, so yeah, you know, I mean, like, and it goes to show, like, it really goes to show that sex matters, man. I will never stop saying it. Like, sex matters more to men than women actually do realize. I really do believe that. I don't think women really understand how, like, especially married women, I don't think they really, really understand how much sex matters to their husbands. I think a lot of women take that for granted. Oh, he's fine. I don't know. I don't think he is. You might want to ask the man, right? I don't think he is. Yeah, I just feel like maybe people get to a certain age and it's like it gets really monotone, and people start to feel like, okay, maybe she's not appreciating me. Maybe she doesn't find me sexy, but there's another woman who notices your haircuts. She notices your cologne. She notices, she gives you compliment. Oh, you are commending the room. Oh, you have such an aura about you, When was the last time you heard a compliment from his wife, right? Where like you make him feel like, yes, you got this. You know what I'm saying? Like, when was the last time you heard something like that? Right? Yeah, that's the thing, Lonnie. And we're not saying it's okay. I'm not saying people should cheat on people with child. But like Lonnie said, people cheat to feel alive. You see? And so that is my problem. It's like, so did y'all stop being best friends and stop doing stuff? You know what I mean? Like, really have fun, like go on vacation and maybe like find a nice hotel on the beach somewhere, open the windows and just do bad things. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, right? Do stuff that's spontaneous. Don't lose your person, right? And don't lose yourself. Okay? Because I'm like, yeah, it's a real thing. Them sexless marriages are real. And I feel like we need to talk about that, you guys. Because, part of me does feel like, even though I have so much on my plate, but part of me does feel like I should have a marriage ministry, but only a marriage ministry for those who really care to be married and who care to take my advice, because I don't care to, I'm not here to influence anybody. I'm not here to change anybody's mind, because that's a waste of time. Right? But for those who want to be married, I do want those people to have successful relationships. I really do. Because to me, the devil's really out here dividing families. And I think divorce is so hard on children. I don't like it. It's so hard on kids, right? It really, really affects children. It's not fair to the kids. So I feel like if we can help mom and dad to not go through a divorce, what does that look like? And that's why, for me personally, I always try to see both sides. And some ladies might not like it, but who cares? Right? Because once a man feels like he's heard, he gets disarmed and he's more likely to agree to the process. Right? You understand? He's more likely to agree to the process, because nobody should feel attacked. You know what I'm saying? Nobody should feel attacked. All these women out here, oh, leave your man, cuss him out, call him a ninja, da da da. Yeah. But if something happens, there's not one of these heifers who will give you $1. These girls love to give bad advice. But then when people divorce, people end up homeless, they're nowhere in sight to come rescue someone. I don't listen to people. Okay? Men are way more braver than women. A man is more likely to work for the rest of his life to take care of his family. These girls giving you advice, the day it's bad for you, they will stop picking up your calls. Okay? They will stop talking to you. It's a real thing. It's a real thing, right? So I feel like it's important for men to know that there are women out there who see them as people, who see them as providers, people who are trying. They're not perfect, but they're trying. And me, I will always honor a person who tries, because anybody can sleep with somebody, right? It takes a certain kind of man to say, I'm not just going to sleep with her, I'm actually going to marry her, right? And I'm like, to me, we have to honor that, because there's a lot of dishonest people out here, man. They'll sleep with you. They'll promise you stuff. They'll give you diseases. They get you pregnant. Then they want you to have an abortion. It's a lot of cowards out here, right? It's a lot of people who want to have the sex, but when sex has consequences, they run. They're nowhere to be found, right? But then there are people out here too who like, no, like, yes, we slept together. Yes, 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 but I'm not going to run away, right? And I feel like for that, you got to give a person credit. Right? There are people who will date a woman for years. We have seen people out here date for 6 years, 10 years, and the man has never proposed to the woman. So to me, if a man even proposes, I will have way more respect for him than somebody who just wants to be boyfriend and girlfriend. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So I really do appreciate people who don't just try, but they back it up. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you have shown me that you are invested in the process. So how do I talk to you? How do I talk to you? How do I coach you so you can reach your potential? Because I feel like, y'all, everybody needs a coach. Everybody does. Like, even a child, even my son, Tracy, he's doing good at school, but trust, I had to coach his ass, right? Everybody needs a coach. Even Fortune 100 CEOs, they have coaches. They have business coaches. They have therapists. They have this, they have this, they have that. So why is it that when it comes to the average man, we expect them to know it all? Even Bill Gates has coaches, right? Like, you see that guy, Tony, what's his name? Some Tony, like he's a motivational speaker dude. What's his name again? Tony something, right? He had, like, the vast majority of his clients are CEOs. So if powerful people have coaches, gurus, mentors, wump, why is it that we expect a regular man with regular money, a regular life, right, to have it all figured out when billionaires are still getting coaching, right? Everybody needs coaching. You're a woman, so he's a man. There are certain things that are obvious to you. It's not going to be obvious to him because he's not a woman. Never been one, never will be one, right? So instead of being frustrated, try to put yourself in his shoes and be like, okay, if I was a man, how would I want to be talked to so that I could actually receive the message? Because and I tell that to my sons all the time. I'm like, the whole point of communication is to be understood, right? If you talk to someone and Tony Robbins, there you go. If you talk to someone and all you do is yell, berate, degrade, insult, demean, that's not communication. That's verbal abuse, okay? When you're communicating with somebody, you have to be understood. So for you to be understood, you got to speak in a language that they can receive. Nobody receives insults. Okay. Nobody receives being called a racial slur. That's just ridiculous. Okay. Nobody receives being demeaned. Nobody's going to receive, if you talk about somebody's male part, they're not going to listen to you. You're crazy. And then what if he turns around and says, oh, but your vagina's loose? How you going to feel? You know, you see, and this is why we don't want to go. Like, there are certain places we just don't want to go. It's just so disgusting. It's so gutter. It is so low class, right? So, okay, he's not a woman, right? He's not a woman. So I cannot expect him to understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, certain things he's going to need help. Like, no, but you can do it in a loving way. And yes, you might have to repeat yourself, because even you, when was the last time you heard something once and you had it right the first time? We have to stop. Okay, we really have to stop. And that's when we start behaving like Pharisees, right? If you move with the heart of Jesus, like, you have to understand, like, yeah, you said it, but you might have to say it again. Because that's what most teachers do. Most teachers have to repeat themselves. Hopefully, but one day you won't have to repeat yourself, right? But he's not a woman. You saying something once, it's not just going to click right away, right? He's still going to need help. Vice versa. She's not a man. So when you talk to her, you got to talk to her in a way that a woman would understand. Like, oh, okay. but she's still gonna make mistakes though. And when she makes a mistake, you bring her back, but you bring her back in love. That's all I'm saying. We have to understand, like, listen, I have my biases, you have your biases. I have my blind spots, you have your blind spots, right? I have my ignorance, you have your ignorance, right? And iron sharpens iron, but it should not be a degrading process. That's all I'm saying. Right. So it's like when you talk about somebody, when you talk about the man, especially if he's the man that you chose to be with, then obviously everything about him is not bad. Right. So before you talk about the bad stuff, I'm saying start with the good stuff. What is it that he does good? Like, what is it that you really love about him? Right. And you'll see. And sometimes the more you start talking about the things he does good, you'll realize that the shit he don't do right now, it's not a big deal. Right. You understand? You always have to do that because the devil just likes to remind you of the bad stuff because he wants you to go in there and act a fool. And you can't let him win. So when the devil wants you to start having this whole list of everything he's doing wrong. I'm saying, I want you to move in the spirit of God and remind yourself of everything he does that's good, right? Remind yourself of that. Like always remind yourself of what has he done for you that's good. Even with God, you might feel like, oh my gosh, God has forsaken me. Yeah, sure, people always say that, but you know what I mean? People are just impatient, but oh, God has forsaken me. God has abandoned me. Shut up, right? Because if you sit down and you remind yourself of everything God has done, you're like, well, you know what? I'm full of shit, huh? I'm just impatient, right? Because honestly and truly, when has God really forsaken you? Like, never. But you're just being dramatic, right? And so when you start reminding yourself of all the times that God showed up for you, he'll do it again. I'm good, right? Like you just stop worrying about stuff because it always works out, right? So when the devil wants you to just start, like, iterating like everything this man is doing wrong, I'm saying start with everything he's doing right. And you'll see that the more you focus on what he's doing right, even your attitude around what he does wrong is going to soften up. Like, I would love for him to change that, but it's not that bad. He's not a devil. He's not a demon, right? Does that make sense? Because now you remind yourself, like, you know what? He does way more good than he does bad. Now, you can still talk about the stuff, though, but I'm saying, like, you're more likely to do it in a loving way because you started off by reminding yourself of what he does that's good, right? And so when you get to what he should work on, you're not as, like, mean and condescending and naggy-ish because you started off with what he does that's actually good. Does that make sense, you guys? Right? Same way. Just like if you were to ever make a mistake, you would want people to remind themselves of what you did that was actually good, not just what she did that was bad. Right? Try to remember, like, even I'll tell you this, like, even with my mom sometimes, like, I could be sitting here and they'll put an idea in my head. Oh, that little crazy person, she crazy, right? Because you have to try to remind yourself of, like, what have people done that's actually good, right? And even though you're upset, but it softens you up, like, whatever, she a crazy ass Virgo anyways, right? You're not as mad. But when all you do is think about what the person did that was bad, it's going to turn into Chantel and Jackie. You saw Chantel and Jackie got into a fight, right? Chantel pushed her mom because she went there. I guess she went to her mom's job, whatever it is, to talk about her childhood or whatever. And it got physical, okay? Because Chantel pushed her mom, and then her mom, well, she swung on her ass, right? Right? But the thing is, to me, I will also say this, not saying Chantel is not right in how she feels, but the way she went about it was completely wrong. That's why I say, before you remind yourself of everything your mom did wrong in your childhood, try to also remind yourself of the things that she did good, right? Jackie can be a lot, I ain't gonna lie, right? Jackie can be a lot. But maybe you can say, you know what? My mom is not a quitter. My mom is very determined. My mom is very focused, and sometimes also, you might want to see that your mom, maybe she also grew up somewhere very toxic, you know what I mean? Maybe she grew up, maybe she had a very toxic childhood. Maybe her mom was toxic. So you think your mom is toxic? Imagine if you had your grandma as your mom. You're like, what the what? Right? So your mom also, she is a product of her environment, right? She is a product of how her mom raised her dad raised her. So sometimes, even though you're upset, I'm saying like, you got to see the entirety of your mom, because before she was your mom, she was somebody's daughter, right? So it's possible that her childhood was very toxic. And nobody ever showed her how to dismantle that toxicity and do things in a positive light, right? I'm not saying you have to endure the abuse though, but I'm saying you don't have to hate your mom. You don't have to hate her. We don't have to meet hatred with hatred. Oh, because you hurt me, I gotta hurt you too. We really have to overcome that. Like that, it to me is it's I don't know, it's demonic. Like God is not in that, right? God's not in that. You know what I'm saying? God is not in that. You know what I'm saying? So, and so your mom didn't have her dad. So think about that. If she sees your dad and how your dad treats you, maybe it triggers her. Maybe it makes her sad. So maybe sometimes she does things like passive aggressively, because she envies what you have with your dad. And you probably never thought about that, right? But maybe sometimes she's in a corner somewhere and she looking at you and your dad like, damn, like, I wish me and my dad had that. But she sees you having that, and maybe she doesn't know how to process that for herself, right? So there could be some passive aggressive behavior, right? Because subconsciously, she probably is a little jealous because she didn't have that. So that too, we got to pray for her, right? But I feel like sometimes when people get mad, people don't pray enough for family. People don't pray enough for people. Yeah, and maybe she does, because it's not, there's a duality in people, right? Most likely she does because she stayed married. Right? She stayed married, but she's still a human being. And the devil is real. The devil talks to people, right? Even me, the devil talks to me. But I just feel as though it's your choice to control your thoughts. Even with postpartum, like I had some weird ideas. Right? But that's why I started looking at the gorilla moms and things like that. And I'm like, well, if such a big creature can be so maternal and so loving, I can do it too, right? So I have all these like mama gorillas and their babies and stuff. It really calmed me down, but I did have some dark ideas, because your mind can go somewhere dark. But I believe that as human beings, the issue is not having the dark ideas. The issue is like acting on those dark ideas, right? But sometimes people don't even know that this, like when I do stuff to my daughter like this, is because low-key is rooted in the fact that I didn't have a father. So when I see her and her dad, it triggers me, even though this is what I wanted. That's why I stayed married, right? But it still doesn't take away the fact that it probably reminds her of something she didn't have, right? So my thing is, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying we can also have mercy for her and pray for her, right? That the Holy Spirit will give her peace about that she has nothing to feel threatened about, because low-key, high-key, that's what she wanted. And ultimately, even though she didn't have a physical father, her real father is God in heaven, right? And he's always watched over her, right? We got to help people. Sometimes we really have to help people with their perspective, and we got to help people see things from a healthier perspective, because by themselves, right? People are people. So by themselves, most people will not have a healthy perspective. But it's very possible that she does things to praise that are like microaggression, passive aggressive stuff, because, she wished she had that too. And when she sees that, it's not intentional, but she's still a human being. The devil can use that and start, saying all kinds of stuff in her head. And if she doesn't have the right kind of help, she don't have the right kind of perspective, she can give into that. And then she can start being passive aggressive, or committing acts of microaggression, right? So that's the real thing. And you have to understand that you have something she didn't have, right? And because of that, you got to have mercy on her. You know what I'm saying? Because to whom much is given, much is required. You have something she didn't have. So that little girl in her is crying for that, like she's missing that. And so maybe we pray that she understand that God loves her. Like, even though her earthly daddy never showed up for her, but God, who's her heavenly father, like he never forsaked her. And she has to understand that. And once she does, she'll be better, right? She'll be better. So that's what I'm saying. right? Is that we don't pray enough for other people. But when you start praying for people, God is going to show you what's really causing all this foolish behavior in people, because a lot of people are hurting. And that's why I say we got to be mindful when we talk to people, because it could be that people are already hurting, right? People are already hurting. You can be with a man and you're very disrespectful. He could be very kind, loving, but maybe growing up, his mom was very mean to him. His mom was very disrespectful. His mom said some really mean things. So now that he's in love with you and you're doing exactly what his mom is doing, you might not mean to, you might not even be aware, but here you are again, and like you're re-traumatizing that person. So that's why I really do believe that, the older you get, you got to be more mindful how you speak to people. I really believe that. I really do. The older you get, you got to be more mindful how you talk to the people that you love. And always say to yourself, if I was to die tonight, if I was to die tomorrow, am I proud of my behavior, right? Am I proud of how I talk to people? You know what I'm saying? Am I proud of how I handle this argument? Because you can lay down and not wake up. And God gonna be like, okay, well, you're here now, but what was you up to yesterday? And then they're gonna start playing that whole tape. You out here cursing, all kinds of foolishness. I'm like, ooh, is that her? Is that you? Like, oh. Right? So this is why I say, when you're really mad, take some water, drink a tall glass of water, and just go to sleep. Everything doesn't have to be said, right? Because you're not going to say it. You're not going to say it right, and you're not going to say it in a loving way. So to save yourself the embarrassment of acting completely ratchet, and to save yourself the embarrassment of having to apologize to someone, what I'm saying is, you're upset. Drink a tall glass of water. Just go to sleep, right? And when you wake up, you might say to yourself, you know what? It's not even that serious. Or it is that serious, but I want to go about it this way versus that way, right? That's all I'm saying, right? That's it. And I don't know, I feel like if more people start encouraging people in serious relationships, like fiancés and married people, to really take their communication skills seriously and to be a bit more mindful with how they talk to each other, I think a lot of marriages can be revived. I really do believe so. I even think a lot of people that are divorced might get back together and get remarried. Okay? Because sometimes people file for divorce out of frustration. They're just frustrated because they don't know how to talk to each other. But the main thing is, you got to know how to talk to yourself. Because I really do believe that if you are unkind to yourself, it's easier to be unkind to other people, right? But when you become kinder to yourself, you start seeing value in being kind to other people. Because I'm kind to myself, I want that for other people, right? But if you're not happy with yourself, you don't love yourself, you still battle with self, you still battle with forgiveness and things like that, accepting yourself and things like that, it becomes really, really hard to be kind to other people because you're still suffering, right? And so if you're suffering on the inside, you want to cause other people to suffer because you're not happy. You're not happy, right? So once you become, I guess, more fulfilled with yourself, you become kinder with yourself, it's a lot easier to be kinder to other people because you know what it feels like to not be kind to yourself, and you know what it feels like to say mean things to yourself, and you don't want to do that to somebody else. So like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person, right? And that's a beautiful thing. The day you get to that place, you're like, you know what? I don't want to be that person. I don't want to pile on people. I don't want to bully people. I don't want to dump on people. I don't want to yell at people, cuss people out. Like, I just don't want to be that person. I want to talk to people, right? And make sure that they understand me. And hopefully by God's grace, they hear me out. They change and I change, and we can have a great relationship, right? Because life is short, you guys. Life is short. And I feel like too much time is spent fighting, insulting each other, cussing each other out, arguing, when we really could be having a great time, right? We could really be having a great time. So why not have fun? Why not really enjoy each other's company and really, really have fun? Like, you know what? I could have been anywhere, but I chose to be here with you tonight, okay? And I'm glad I'm here, and I'm glad you're here, right? And then the day that God calls us, we can say, we really I'm lucky that I got to experience what it feels like to love somebody and to also be loved and things like that. And it was my pleasure to have met you in this lifetime. Maybe I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully I don't, because I won't come back. Right? I feel like life is too short to always fighting and fighting and fighting. Why are we fighting? Like, seriously, why are we fighting? Tomorrow we could go to the doctor and get bad news. And you'll be like, you know what? Everything I was mad about yesterday, now it doesn't even matter anymore, because here's what the doctor said, right? Doesn't matter. We fight for stuff that truly, in like the bigger scheme of thing, it doesn't matter. It's better to work together. It's better to work together and find a way to come out of this together, right? But the whole fighting thing, I don't know. I've done that before. I'm like, it's really exhausting. It's very draining. You really get nothing out of it, right? It's an awful thing. It's an awful, awful thing. It's a lot better to be at peace. It's a lot better to be at peace with people, right? It's a lot better to be friendly with people and they be friendly with you also. It's a lot better to be with people and you really enjoy their company and they really enjoy your company, right? But you just get older and you just appreciate peace. Like, not the passive aggressive, I need my peace stuff, but like, no, real peace. I don't fear that we might have a disagreement tomorrow, because I know that we know how to talk to each other, and I know that we know how to listen to each other. So I'm good. I don't have anxiety about stuff like that, right? But a lot of people, they have anxiety because you don't know how, if I say this, how am I going to be received? If I say this, how's he going to be received? Or if he says this, how's he going to be received, right? People have anxiety because they haven't figured out how to talk to each other, and it doesn't become toxic or divisive or things like that, right? So that's all I'm saying. It's like, try your best to see it from everybody's perspective. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's that. That's what I'm saying with her. It's like, if your husband's out there driving a big ass truck all over Europe like that, and he doesn't come home, he probably missed you a lot. Probably missed you. So when he comes home and he doesn't see you, he feels like he doesn't matter. And you don't know how the job treats him also. I think most drivers are not really kind to truck drivers, right? They get paid horribly. They're not valued, and it's a job it's very taxing on your body. So it's one thing for the world to treat you like shit, but I feel like when you come home and you've been gone for days, and you take care of everything, you just want your wife to just be there for you and give you a hug. You're like, oh my gosh, I missed you, and I cooked this for you, and here's what the kids made when you were gone, just to feel like you have an anchor, and that anchor is your family. And so if you're out there and you're killing yourself, you're doing this to yourself, right? For as much as you want to be in your bed, it's worth it, because you have people who really appreciate what you've done, I think that's what he's trying to tell her, but he doesn't know how to say it. And she needs to do better. But I'll post the link. Now, it's in French, like I said, but you can put you can put the subtitles in English, right? You can kind of keep up, and then you can just watch and see her behavior. But I'm like, there's more to you as a woman than dressing sexy, right? If you're having an identity crisis as a mother, you're not going to reclaim that by wearing skimpy clothes. Okay, you need to find something purposeful. You got to find something meaningful. But I do believe that motherhood is a beautiful job, because if you raise great human beings, not only are you going to be proud, but all of society is going to be proud. Okay, and then one day they'll have beautiful families, and then you'll be proud, right? So don't be upset because you are at a point in your life where you have to embrace your mommy era. It's life. But because you started early, they'll be grown. Like when they're grown, you'll still be very young, right? There are women who are they have their first baby at 40 or 45. So they're in this until like almost 60, right? So it's okay, right? If you started motherhood early, sometimes it's actually a flex, right? If you started motherhood in your 20s, like when your child is 18, you might be in your 40s or something like that. Can you imagine? Like, then you're done. You live your life, right? So, but prioritize your kids, prioritize their grades, prioritize their future, right? Take pleasure in being a coach for your children. Take pleasure in being a mentor for your kids. Give them what you didn't have, right? Expose your kids to bigger opportunities, take them places they've never been. Show them what's possible, right? Instead of worrying about clothes and shorts and working at the bar. Right? Plan vacation, plan summer activities, plan activities for your kids. where they see things, that they've never seen, that there's another world out there. Like if you're middle class or you're working poor, take your kids to these fancy places and tell your kids, if you work hard in school, your education will grant you access to these kinds of places. Then you won't have to worry about that. You'll never have to live like mommy and daddy. Okay, you'll have whatever you want, whenever you want. You can vacation whenever you want. It's a small sacrifice, right? Raising kids, I mean, actively, it might be like 18 years, but I'm like, that it goes by so fast. Like Treasury is almost 15, right? So in 3 more years, it's going to be 18. I'm telling you, like, it goes by so fast. So don't resent your mommy era, right? Embrace it. Make it the best, because when your kids leave for college, like, who knows if they'll come back, right? But you only have them for 18 years. So enjoy having your kids. Let them know how much they mean to you. Let them know how you're proud of them, right? Coach them as much as possible. Education, relationships, finances, right? Believing in their dreams, time management, how to be clean, how to cook. There's so much that you have to teach kids. Like today I was helping Tracy clean his room, right? There's so much you have to show your kids, but I'm like, they need coaching. Kids have to know what's required to be successful, right? It's not just the grade, it's your room. You got to be clean. You got to live in a clean environment. Got to organize your stuff, right? So that when they go to college, they're on the dorm, they're going to be clean. You know what I mean? There's so much they have to learn. Then you got to teach them how to cook a little something, you got to have a few breakfast recipes. They got to have a few lunch recipes, got to have a few dinner recipes. So when they go off, they know what to make, but you got to have good grades. You got to know how to study. You got to know how to be clean. Got to take pride in how you live and where you live. It has to be clean, right? But there's a lot to teach your kids. Like all the stuff you wish your mom would have told you, you wish your dad would have told you, now it's your turn to teach that to your kids, right? Financial literacy with your kids, right? Buying books and reading books with your kids. You're not missing anything. These streets have nothing for you. Okay? These streets have nothing for you. Right? Like Marlene, I'd rather spend my time with my kids, like reading business books. Like Stefan likes that kind of stuff. He's on YouTube and he watches like entrepreneurs and stuff. I'm like, I'd rather sit with my kids. Okay, what'd you love about that? Tell me more. I want to be at home and talk to my kids. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know, I just feel like it's a privilege to be a mom, right? It's a privilege to have an influence over children like that, right? So enjoy that. Because I'm telling you that when the kids, they turn 18, it goes by so fast. Then you'll miss your babies. Like, oh my gosh, they're gone. The house is going to be quiet. And you think you're worried about your closet. Like, oh my gosh, like I want to see my kids. I want to see my kids. Clothes not going to matter to you, right? So really enjoy raising your kids, okay? Enjoy your babies. And stop having these goofy ass girls out here make you feel like you're missing out on something. You're not missing out on anything. They might be missing out. Maybe they should be mommies and know what it feels like. Okay, I'm just saying. But you're not missing out on anything. We have to evolve. We have to evolve. Our 20s were our 20s, our 30s were our 30s. Like me, I'm 40 now, right? So imagine me at 40 crying about an outfit. Like that sounds crazy. Okay, like what? No. Right? You got to embrace your 40s, like, and what that is. Then one day I'll be 50. Then you got to embrace your 50s, right? And then one day I'll be 60. Then you got to embrace that too, right? You just, we have, it's like school. Like you go from one class to another. Like, oh, first you're a freshman, then you're a sophomore, then you're a junior, then you're a senior, right? You got to evolve. And part of evolving as an adult is that you leave everything that is childish in the past. And you got to focus on you got to focus on your current task at hand. That's being the best mom possible and the best wife possible, because you committed to those people. You didn't commit to the streets. The streets have nothing for you. Look at every woman that left the husband, left the family to go be in the streets. Where's she at now? The streets have nothing for you. They have nothing for you. Family is so precious. Family is sacred. Okay? So it's like family is because people are miserable. People are really miserable. And that's why today a lot of women are running to have babies. Some women have frozen their eggs, but I'm hearing that it's not reliable. Like you can pay 16,000 and then it's bad. Like you go get the eggs, they're dead. Like I don't know, they're frozen. I don't know how it works. Okay. But I'm like, you got to evolve. You know what I'm saying? And my prayer for a lot of y'all is that you find your person. Okay. That you find your person and that you do what serious people do. In life, there are stages, y'all, right? There's an age to graduate high school, hopefully 18, or your A levels if you're in the UK, right? Gotta be 18. When you're 22, 23, you gotta be done with your first degree. We gotta move, right? By the time you're 26-ish, you gotta be done with your master's. Find your person. Unless you go to med school, then you might be there in your 30s. But even that too, you gotta keep looking, right? When you get to like your 30s, mid 20s, early 30s, you got to get engaged. You got to get married. You got to start a family, right? Y'all, there's like, you know what I mean? There's an age for everything, right? You don't want to be delayed. And don't listen to these crazy people. Oh, you don't have to. You can wait. Shut up, all right? If you find someone that has like, I told you, my thing is like from 60 to 80%, right? But if he wants to do something that most guys don't want to do, got to give him credit for that. Now, we should go to premarital counseling, though, right? But you got to do what you got to do. You cannot sit here, I'm going to be forever young. As women, we're not going to be forever young. I mean, yes, technically, but not in like the sexual attractiveness dating market shit, right? No, right? Like me, 40-year-old Marlene, 25-year-old Marlene, I don't know. It's a huge difference, right? But it's like there's an age for everything. But if motherhood means a lot to you and you want to experience that, you gotta have a certain mindset. Gotta have a certain mindset. And you got to have the mindset of a team player. Like you got to be a team player. You got to know how to compromise. You got to know how to have empathy. And it's not just because of the man, right? Even though it sounds like it, but it's not just because of the man. When you have children, because the day you have children, you'll see babies are very selfish. You grab Maverick, he wants to scratch your face. Babies are selfish. Children are very selfish. So as parents also, we have to teach kids how to share, how to have empathy. You don't hurt people. You know what I'm saying? You got to put that into your kids. But if you don't have that, how can you put it in your kids? Right? If you don't even know what empathy is, how can you teach your child empathy? You know what I'm saying? Got to teach kids. When you have a birthday party, you got to invite everybody. You can't leave somebody out because you don't like the person. That's not nice, right? We got to try our best to get along with people. Right? There's so many things like that you have to teach the kids. Right? So if you don't have those things in you, how are you going to put that into your children? But you don't want your child to be a sociopath, right? So you got to teach kids, you got to know how to have empathy yourself, and then they'll see that. Oh, my mommy was very empathetic, right? You can be empathetic without tolerating bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But that's the way I see it, right? So, yeah. Because social media has a lot of people who give horrible advice. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So, like, to me, the more you have self-awareness and the more you practice empathy, right, it's easier being a mom because you know what to pour into your kids, right? You don't abuse people. You don't bully people. You don't mistreat people. You don't pick on people, right? You don't make fun of people, right? Think about how it makes them feel. Would you want someone to make you feel that way? There you go. You don't do that to other people. But you can't just say it to your kids. You got to live it. Got to live it, right? You got to live it. You really have to live it. You have to embody that. You have to live it, right? So, okay, my mommy says it, but I also see her practice that with daddy. I see her practice that with other people. I see her practice that with us. So then it makes you credible. You become a credible coach. Like you don't just say nice things, but you live it. They see you living it, right? I'm just saying, there's beauty in being a nice person. There really is, right? And there's beauty also in like being a great mediator. There's beauty in like, having a lot of great tools for conflict resolution, right? Because you will get things done because you know how to talk to people, right? And when you know how to talk to people, you will be able to get things done. Yeah. Yeah, you got to have empathy because you'll see children are very selfish. Sometimes you'll see babies, they'll fight each other for a toy, they'll scratch each other because they don't understand, like, right? But you got to teach them that. You don't do that. You ask. You say please, right? You have empathy and stuff like that. You can't be beating up your friend because you want the red truck. There's another truck. You get it, right? Right now, he wants to play with the red truck. You can play with the red truck later. I mean, when you have kids, that's how you talk to people. Because little people they're savages. They are selfish, territorial savages. Okay. And you got to raise these young people to care about other people, especially when they start driving. Because a car, first of all, it's not driving is not even a right, it's a privilege, right? And number two, your car can turn into a weapon. Right. So you want your children to be empathetic. Like, wow, I can do a lot of harm with this car. Right. Driving it's a privilege. It's not a right. So when you drive a car, you gotta be mindful. Mindful for yourself and mindful for other people. And you gotta be especially more mindful of pedestrians. Because you're the car. That's just their body. If you hit a person with a car, you most likely will kill the person. So you gotta have empathy. Right? Think about other people. Yeah. So I'm like, and I feel like nowadays, like we're not doing that. People drive all kinds of crazy, even in the parking lot, even at the Walmart, like the Walmart parking lot, people speeding through a parking lot like there are kids here. There are kids. Because people don't have, I'm telling you, it's the lack of self-awareness and lack of empathy. Like, you know what? When you are in the parking lot, any child, Target, Walmart, Ulta, Costco, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, you name it. These kids can be so quick. Next thing you know, there's a child just running between cars. Right? And sometimes also they're very small. So when you're in your car, you might not see the little people. So when you're in the parking lot, you got to drive extremely slowly. Take your time. Look left, look right. Right? Always assume there's a crazy baby that's unattended running to the parking lot. And when you think like that, you drive extremely carefully because, like, God forbid, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be very careful. Yeah. People just let the kids run this and that. So I'm like, you gotta be very careful. But I mean, it always puzzles me when I see people speed through a parking lot, a parking deck. I'm like, are you dumb? Do you want to go to jail? Because it don't take much to kill someone. Yeah. People do all kinds of dumb stuff. And I'm like, but me, when I'm in a parking lot, I'm extremely careful because you just never know. You just never know. A mom could let go of her child's hand. Next thing you know, he's running everywhere. So I'm like, I'm always careful. Like even when let's say like I'm leaving the store and I'm walking to my car, I always try to take like quick mental pictures to see, do I see any kids, any mother with children? So when I'm in the car, I can think of that. Oh, I saw this lady with a baby. This lady had a daughter wearing yellow. I always try to see if there's no one walking with children, right? Because you got to be extremely careful, especially on Saturdays, right? Or Sundays, because people go out with their kids. And unfortunately, you have a lot of moms who do not know how to control their children. And all it takes a few seconds, baby just gone. Even like in the neighborhood too, like you'll see kids, they ride their bikes, they jump here, they jump over here, they run across the road. They're truly not mindful, and it's understandable. They're babies. They're dumb. They don't see the danger in the stuff they're doing because they're kids. But you're an adult, so you got to anticipate all that shit, right? And also, you're a parent. So you say to yourself, if this was my child, how would I want somebody to drive around my kids? So you drive at 5 miles per hour with your foot on the brake. Right? Because you have empathy. That could be my son. That could be my daughter. Right? So you try to move like that. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately today, people are so full of themselves. People are so full of themselves. And they're very self-righteous. People are seriously self-righteous. And they don't try to see it from another person's perspective. Right? And that's why everything's so fucked up. And that's why everything is so racialized, polarized, extreme, radicalized, right? Because people don't try to see it from the other person's point of view. And you also have people on social media who are specifically anchored to encourage others to not see it from the other person's point of view. Because they make money like that, right? They make money keeping people hateful, keeping people divided, keeping people confused and things like that. They make money. They make money off of chaos, right? They don't want to see people happy. You see, that's sad. Right. I mean, to me, if you know your child intentionally stole, you should have it. They should bring it back, or at least go back and pay for it. Because you got to teach kids to have integrity. Because today you start stealing over here, tomorrow what you gonna do? And by that time you'll be an adult, you know. And if they get your ass, it's a wrap. It's like it might be a felony. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like even that also, like, teaching kids not to care about the law and not understanding that certain things are like petty larceny and things like that, grand larceny, things like that, right? These things are crimes, you know. There's a lot to do. There really is a lot to do when you're a parent. And like, so to me, if you're obsessed with clothing and looking sexy and looking young and things like that, you've really lost the plot. And I feel like you don't have a lot of good influences in your life, right? I don't think you do. But all right, you guys, I'm gonna leave it here because I have to go work out in the morning. Been meaning to work out for the past like 3 days. Can't do it. Cleaning, this, and that. I've been so busy. But I'm going to share this video in on the community tab, right? So hopefully you can enjoy the video. It's sad that we can't watch the video. But I'm like, that's just crazy. Hold on. Make sure I share it. If I find another video for us, it's okay. Just make sure that you do the closed captions, and then make sure you turn the closed captions into English, so it can, you know, because otherwise they'll just come out in French, right? But I'm like, you gotta do better. I have other videos. You guys, I'm so behind. I gotta do the Ashanti one. I have so many videos. I do a Lala one. Because they said Lala Anthony's looking for a man. I'm like, no man is coming, sis. Carmelo was the best you ever. Girl, you go crazy. I'm like, no man is coming. You're like almost 50. Nobody's coming. You're going to stay by yourself. And you'll continue to have sex with little boys. That's it. That's that. Y'all, there's just so many topics, right? But I'll leave it here for now. So hopefully you received the message, right? If you choose to be in a relationship with someone, right? Because she said he cheated. And I'm like, okay, and like some of these women in this cheating stuff, I feel like depending on who you are and depending on who you married, like your expectations for monogamy are crazy. Especially given her, because I'm like, when Lala got with Carmelo, he was like 19. You didn't allow this young man to have his whole phase, I guess, in the league, because you got glued to his ass, right? So it was gonna come out of him eventually, right? You know what I'm saying? It was come out eventually. But to be married to a basketball player though and expect monogamy, I don't know. To me, that's a bit silly, especially a younger man, like a man that's like what 5-6 years younger than you, and you made sure he had no childhood, girl. I don't know. You gotta be reasonable. Yeah, Kim is crazy. But you know what, Kim, I really do feel like if Kanye could if Kanye could reinvent himself and spin the block, Kim will go back. Because I feel like Kanye, like between Reggie Bush and Kanye, I feel like those like her top two, right? But Kanye's probably the biggest star she's ever been with, right? So she could go back with Kanye if she didn't care about her. I feel like honestly, if Kim did not care about losing her brains, losing her followers and things like that, she would go back and be with Kanye. Okay. Yeah, so that's why I feel like it's kind of weird. I'm divorcing an NBA player because he cheated. You should divorce him because he gave your money to somebody else. Okay, that's it. But that's what they do. And I don't think he was as hoish as Michael Jordan. Okay, because he was something else. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you got to be reasonable. You know, certain people will not be faithful. Like, it just doesn't work like that. Some people are not that. They're not a one woman type of man, right? But I don't think you can marry a basketball player. Tom Brady, I don't know. I think Giselle's the one who cheated. You know, But you never know. Kanye might find a way because I mean, right now people are really anti-Zionism too, right? But you just never know. Kanye, I don't put nothing past Kanye. Kanye is capable of reinventing himself and reemerging. I don't put nothing past him. I really don't. That guy is really like he's something else, right? I don't put it past him though. But I'm like, if Kanye could come back and be at the top again, she would go back. She would go back. So, you know what I mean? Because a lot of these ladies, they just do stuff to give like the illusion of I don't tolerate bullshit. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You just care about the way you're being perceived, you know. But I'm like, if Kanye could fix it and Kanye could go back and be the old Kanye, she would spin the block. Like, you guys, we have kids together and we decided to work it out for the children. Kanye's insane. But he could say he didn't say it. He could say he was hacked. He could say he was on drugs or he was just saying it to see a reaction out of people. But I'm like, she's almost, I mean, she is a sex worker. So who is she to judge? You know what I mean? But I do feel like if Kanye could come back and reemerge and be at the top again and everybody loves Kanye again, she would go back. Yeah. Lonnie, I'm telling you, the way people are anti-Zionism right now, it's very possible for Kanye to reinvent himself and to come back and to be completely forgiven. Like, oh, Kanye, we didn't see what you meant, you know, because these Zionists, what they're doing in Palestine is so disgusting. So it's very possible, right? And he could say he was just trolling. But I'm like, when it comes to Kanye, I don't put nothing past him. I'm like, this man can truly reinvent himself. He really can. He can really, really reinvent himself. And if he can win the people back, she will go back. He could say he was hacked. That he didn't say it. You know what I mean? So, anything is possible. And plus, I don't even think that Kim likes Beyonce like that anyway. So Beyonce was never really nice to her. So I don't even think she really cares. But he could also say he was not on his medication and he didn't mean that and things like that. Y'all, I'm telling you, like, do not put anything past Kanye. Me, I would not write Kanye off. I would not write Kanye off. Like, Kanye, I would write him off. That dude he's very creative. Oh yeah, he likes samples. So, but with this guy, you just never know. Because you see, when he got canceled the first time, he came out with gospel music. It worked. It really worked. So that Gemini, I don't know. I'm just not going to write him off because I'm like, I can see Kanye have a crazy comeback. I really can. I would not write him off because Kanye is something else. He is something else. And the thing about this guy, I feel like he has such a crazy sense of like self-belief in himself that if he says he's going to do something, I think he really can. He's a special breed, that one. But I'm like, if he can clean up and rebrand himself and get people to forgive, I really do believe she would go back to him. Because I really do believe that she loves him a whole lot. I really do. I'm like, after Reggie Bush, that's like her biggest, right? Even it's her biggest relationship, right? But she has 4 kids with the man. Yeah. So, but Beyonce was not known to be nice to Kim. And now she's pulling a lot of Kim Kardashian antics. So, because I'm like, the way her booty's out, I'm like, this is so beneath you. Like, this is the kind of dumb shit Kim would have done. Like, what is this? But we shall see. We shall see. Right? But I'm like, to me, I really do believe that Kim, she still loves Kanye. And if she could go back to him tomorrow, even today, she would. But it's like her brand, her image, her partnerships, and things like that. So she does love her money. Right? Gemini, he don't care about money because he's a real artist. so he can make money anytime. And also, I don't even feel like he does it for the money, But Kanye, I would not write him off. Something in me is like, this dude right here, if he really wants to rebrand himself, he really can. Because the way he used gospel music to rebrand himself, and people forgot, especially Black people, they completely forgot. I'm like, well, if he wants to do it again, he will. It could be through a non-for-profit. It could be through like feeding the poor. Kanye is something else. That man, he is really smart. I mean, he has a crazy sense of like self-belief. So I'm like, if Kanye wants to rebrand himself, he can, and he will. And it's going to work. This man's like a cat. Okay. I feel like one day he's gonna wake up and be like, okay, I want to win again. And then boom, it's over. And because he's, he's a real artist to me, I'm like, child, and they gonna forget about it because people are really fickle like that. And then people also are quick to forgive. Like, as long as you can step up and own your shit and not be scared, they'll move on. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, Kanye is just, I don't know. They tried to cancel that man multiple times. And he was like, you can't cancel me. And he was right. He was right. So I'm saying, if Kanye wants to wake up tomorrow and rebrand himself and start over, whether it's through gospel music or rock and roll or feeding the poor or, even going into like prison reform or something like that, Kanye can do it. I will never write this man out. He's something else. You know what I mean? And I do feel like, I really do feel like his life is special because look at the car accident he got into, right? He didn't die. And his entire mouth was taped, like not taped, like they had his entire mouth was sewn together after the accident. And he still did the song through the wire and stuff like that. His mouth was completely shut. And this man was still out here telling you that song. So I'm like, this dude is something else. He really is something else. I'm like, I just feel as though if he really wants to rebrand himself, it's going to work. Exactly. But I'm like, I wouldn't write him off. He's a Gemini. I don't know how they do it, but they always find a way. It's impressive. They're like octopus. Like they always find a way. They always find a way. So I'm like, this man, and he might even have a bigger comeback. He might have a bigger comeback. Like it might be really crazy. You know what I'm saying? But these people, them Gemini people, I don't know how they do it. But they know how to do it. And they find a way to come back, and they come back bigger and stronger. And people are even more obsessed with them. Like, I don't know how they do it. I really don't know how they do it. But they do it though. But I'm like, he's crazy. And Kanye also, to me, he really embodies like the American spirit. Like, I don't give a fuck. I say what I want to say. Fuck you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I just feel like it's not over for him. It's not over for him. And his comeback, he might even make like way more money than he ever did. But I don't believe it's over for him. I think now he's acting like he's dead or something, or he's acting defeated, but Kanye gonna come back. That's what I'm saying. Is like, and Kim, when she sees that everybody loves him, because that's all she cares about, right? Because she's extremely materialistic that way. But I'm like, if she sees that Kanye back at the top, food chain, she gonna spin the block. Maybe. He's always working on something. Like there's always a plan to the plan. Like when he does something, there's always something bigger behind it. But he's not as crazy. People think he's crazy. I just feel like he engineers chaos to his benefit. Like he knows how to leverage chaos. Like he'll manufacture chaos so that he can control the outcome. But you think he's crazy, but he's not crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like Nicki Minaj to think she's crazy. She's not crazy. She knows what the hell she's doing. And every time she gets upset at somebody, like I said, she has receipts. She always has receipts. You know what I'm saying? She has receipts. Nikki's not crazy. And now she's trending, like her pose challenge is trending. Another song of hers is trending. And I'm like, every time they try to cancel Nikki or gaslight her, her stock just goes up. Exactly. So I'm like, nah, he's not crazy. We think he's crazy, but I feel like that's part of like the engineered chaos he does in order to have the outcome he wants. So he can have leverage. But he's not crazy. He's not crazy. Like, he's very smart. He will make you think he's crazy, but he's not crazy. He knows what he wants. Yeah. But you see, right after that, she's trending. Her songs are trending. People are doing her challenge, and like, it's going super, super viral again. But I'm like, it happens every time. Every time they try to gaslight her, cancel her, whatever, the love of the people just takes over, and it's organic. Like, there's no record label paying for that kind of stuff. But like, she's not crazy. You know, so that's that. All right, you guys. But I love you. Let me go close my eyes. It's 2:00 in the morning. Sorry, this video is short. The first one I had to delete. I couldn't even save it because my streaming art is full. But I will see you guys tomorrow. No, Nikki's everything. I'll see y'all tomorrow, hopefully. I got to work out tomorrow, okay? It definitely does. And having an organic relationship with your audience, it really wins, like, all the time. But Nikki has real fans. She has real fans. And she cultivated her fan base for over 15 years. So no record label can just wash that away. Like, it's just not possible. Right? It's not possible. Nikki has real fans. Hey, Mark. Yeah, Nikki has real fans. 15 years of like building, 15, 20 years of building an audience. Like, yeah, she's earned her fans. So it's like, you're not going to just, there's no record label. There's no Des Perez. There's no Rock Nation. There's no Universal. There's no Arista. Like, none of them people can take her down. You know, 15 years, 20 years of being outside with people and nurturing that relationship with people. Yeah, you're not going away. You see, she's not going anywhere. And I feel like people who really know Nikki know, like, if she's upset about something, she's not crazy. She has receipts. She really has receipts. And and the receipts are always giving actual receipts. So I'm like, yeah, if she's upset, you did something. Like, do not gaslight us. Yeah, do not gaslight us. Like, if she's upset, you did something. You did. And she has receipts because the thing, I feel like her also, she knows people want to call her crazy, and they want to ruin her name. So she knows that she can't come out here and start saying things or claiming things if she can't back it up. So if she talks, she ready. Okay, she is ready, right? That's it. And it's funny how they never sue her. How come they don't sue her? How come they don't sue her for defamation? Right? She's so crazy. She's so this. Why don't they sue her for defamation? Oh, okay. There you go. All right. But I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. You guys, I'll come outside. I just gotta work out tomorrow. Okay. And then I'll come back after that. Okay. Be soon, my people. I'll see y'all tomorrow. All right. Bye, my loves. Gotta go. Bye-bye. Get some sleep. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired right now. The end of the stream or not.